Live from Canada, welcome race fans one and all back to Green Flag TV, where this afternoon we get set to go racing once again for round number 7 of the 2026 campaign of the VSCA Sports Car Championship. As we swing to Bowmanville, Ontario, we welcome you back into Green Flag TV. My name is Old Remple. Joined alongside me today is James Newton, bringing you all of racing action from start to finish of one of our closing sprint races of the season. James, it's going to be a good one here this afternoon. 2 hours and 40 minutes set to kick off here this afternoon from what used to be called, of course, the Motorsport International Raceway. And with the track that has remained unchanged in its layout since 1961, it'll be interesting to see what 3 of our 4 classes can put on here around Mosport.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nolan. It's really excited to be here. This is going to be really good. We got 37 drivers in the field that are going to be, or I should say entries in the field. We've got more than that coming your way. But again, as you said, Mosport now, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, one of the only things that's changed since the 60s. And I'm really glad to be in the commentary booth here, as it looks kind of nasty out there. It should clear out a little later on, but looking forward to this one.
It's a very foggy afternoon indeed. The weather might not necessarily be to drivers' desires here today. The one big thing, we will not be getting rain on the forecast, at least not expected on the forecast, I should say. It ended up being a monsoon in Miami when we swung down to Homestead Miami Speedway, so we're hoping that tonight going to go a little bit smoother than what happened a few weeks ago. Taking a look at the schedule coming up here, we are entering the final portions of the season as Watkins Glen International will host the next endurance race in about a month or so on June 20th. And from there, it's an extensive break, almost 2 months before we go racing again at Road America. The final sprint race of the season will be held at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Good old Brickyard will be hosting that final race at the end of August before we swing to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta for Petit Le Mans. So race 7 of 11 in this championship is about to get underway. With this being the second to last sprint race, it's getting a little bit more tense for the championship as well.
Yeah, these drivers all fighting for that top spot. And I just wanted to point out here that Canadian Tire Motorsports Park is our last, if you could even call it, kind of a smaller track, about 2.5 miles or so. Road Atlanta is the only other track that's kind of in that kind of vicinity. Watkins Glen, a pretty large track. Road America, an enormous monster, in Indianapolis, the same. So this is going to be one of the last times that these guys are going to be this compact throughout the field.
And you take a look at some of the track facts coming in here this afternoon. Like I said, just shy of 2.5 miles or 4 kilometers, 10 corners around this facility. A very slow pit road speed as well, only 35 miles an hour, going to make it a bit of a challenge for drivers on the afternoon. But that said, the track temp is hot, 36 degrees Celsius out there on the racetrack. Now, in Fahrenheit, that's 96.8, so the track temp is certainly up there, and a lot of crosswind as well. 20 kilometers an hour blowing off towards the southeast, going to make this a true driver's race here on the afternoon.
Yeah, and as we were speaking about this off air, the corner numbers, 10 corners. We were having quite a heated discussion off air about different types of corner names and the way that they're placed out there. We have the S's near the end, which will be a very difficult section for the drivers, especially those GTPs catching to the GT traffic later on in this 2-hour 40-minute race. And it's really going to be interesting. Again, there's not a lot of space, relatively normal width for the track, but these cars are going to be catching each other at quite a rate of knot, especially down the Mario Andretti straight and into the S's. So the differential speeds in cornering between the GT class and the I guess both prototype classes is going to be on full display here as they enter that section.
Yeah, GT Pro not going to be present on the afternoon, as yet again we're following the trend with one of the classes having to sit out from racing action this afternoon due to the size of the track, but we will have both prototype classes out there, which means it is still going to be an extremely busy track out here as well. No team is outside of 100 points to their next driver in class. So with all the gaps looking to be between 70 and 85 points between first and second place throughout, it means that for a lot of the folks here today, it is going to be a little bit dicey, I think, for a lot of drivers here on the afternoon. So we're going to look to see how this one is going to pan out here today as race in action set to continue in force here in just a few moments' time. Let's take a rundown then of what your starting grid is going to look like for race in action here on the afternoon as it is going, well, we'll start things off first and foremost with your GTPs. It's going to be a couple of pace laps here in the afternoon due to the size of the track. We'll start with Tiago Mello on pole position for Bravo Snow Shanton right now. Mello looking to lead the way here in the Sprint Cup as well. Not too much ground between themselves, though, and other drivers in the field. Bravo Snow Shanton, of course, looking to fight their way back to the field. World of Sim Racing Team, the driver that leads the points entering today with Danny Fontaine in that number 1 position. Row 2 will hold Nicholas Pedersen for VSCA Racing. He is alongside Charlie Rudd for Gamma Sim Racing. Row 3 on the GTP grid, you're going to have John Javicki, his driver back Simsport this afternoon, the new entry to the field. Jonathan Lopez, VSR Competición, will be alongside him on row 3 of the GTP grid. From there, it's Jordi Vermeulen for BMW M Team TSR alongside Mark Skirschel for Albrecht Motorsports. Top 10 closed out by Visual Motorsports and BMW M Team Delta Racing. And the BMW sister car of Enzo Alchini will be rolling off 11th, failing to start a qualifying time.
I move over to the LMP3s here. Doriano Ricciuti in first position for that group with Thiago Maduro Diaz in the 14 alongside on the first row. Second row is going to be Matthew J. Luke for Fury Sim Sport in third position alongside Marcus Young for Wolf Motorsport in the 512. Jesse Deshazier in Gamma Sim Racing, fifth position. Sixth place is Paolo Calvo. Fourth row of the grid is going to be Roberto J.M. Arthur with Rick Team Racing there in the seventh position in the 87 alongside Alexander Schneider for Track Limits Sim Racing. Kyle Allen is going to be in ninth position alongside Connor Zubzian in 10th position. And rounding out the LMP3 field is Kevin Burnett for Red Lab Competition.
And moving down to the GTMs, it's going to be Tane Hodison for Frida Sport, joined alongside Marek Gdansky for Intercom Fisher Motorsports in the Porsche, making it all Porsche 1-2. Mercedes bringing it up on row number 3 with Richard Bell for SR Motorsports alongside Danilo Vaz for Bravo Stowe Shatton. Row 4 on the grid with Lawrence DeBroat for SR Motorsports and Michael Adamczyk for Flight Level Racing. Row 4 will hold Nicholas Goen for Goen Racing in the Ferrari alongside Nick Ebby. 499 Racing still looking to get a good result here on the afternoon. And then Lucas Santos of Ultra Motorsports alongside Neil Forbes for Wastegate Racing. Moving down through the field, Jason Brothers brings it up for SWF Motorsports at the Porsche alongside the BMW of Stuart Leslie for Off in the SS Racing. With row 7 holding Chris Cadiz at BMW M Team TSR. And Nate Bogus for Bentley SRT will be alongside him on the front row of the grid, with Claudio DeSanto for Wolf Motorsports Sim Racing bringing up the rear of the field. So overall, it's looking to be quite the show on the day. 37 total competitors. One will be starting from pit road. That is, of course, BMW M Team Delta Racing's Enzo Alchini. And James, looking like this one will be a good one, with still one lap left to go before we get this show on the road for the hashtag NEVERLIFT Crispy160.
Yeah, drivers are having a look at the track again. All the lights are on because we have very low visibility here, which is going to help out the leaders, hurt the drivers further back. I don't think it'd be too tricky. Obviously, these guys these folks tons and tons of practice, so they'll know where all the corners are. They've got good visibility out there, but I think that they're just itching to get going here. Again, a really strong field, right? We've got 37 entries into this. 2 hours, 40 minutes of racing. So this is not going to be one in the first quarter. Certainly not going to be one in the first hour. So just trying to stay out of the pits. Scheduled stop only. And just trying to hang in there. Now that looks horrendous there, Nolan. Obviously we are very, very far away. But that's not something that I would want to be driving into. This is much better here. This kind of low down on the track. And there we have a look at out the front of, looks like one of, there we go, yep, Wastegate Racing, number 33. This is the view from 10th in the GT Am. Of course, as you said earlier, the GT Pros not sharing this track. That'll be the final time, though, Nolan. We won't have to be dropping one of the classes, so we'll have everybody along for the party next time around. But I think even with you could almost call it a tamer grid without the GT Pros, this is still going to be seriously tense.
Oh, for sure. You know, a lot of drivers are going to be feeling the pressure here on the afternoon as they make their way through Moss for the final time. And, of course, this straightaway here, definitely, I would say, the biggest straight that didn't stray, right? It is a bit of a snaky one. It sweeps from the left back to the right as you set yourself up for the S's and, of course, for White's corner. Going to make it a bit of an interesting journey as well. And watch for lap traffic coming through here. Could get dicey.
Yeah, it almost reminds me, if you look at the track map, going through, the end of the Mario Andretti straight into the S's, it almost looks like one of those mechanical watch wind-up things where the metal, it kind of starts very, very open, a really large radius, and it just tightens and tightens and tightens. And that's exactly what the track does. It gets tighter through the S's, and then finally White's at the very end of the lap here. It gets about as tight as it gets anywhere on the circuit.
Well, green flag coming out this next time by, as it'll be Tiago Mello leading the way for Bravos dos Chante. Once again, we're happy that you are joining us for Race in Action here on a beautiful Saturday afternoon, as it will once again be one of the BMW machines to lead this field to the green flag. The hashtag NEVERLIFT Crispy 160 officially underway, and a big pileup in the back of the LMP2s. Multiple cars going around, and it's another start line calamity, just like we saw in Miami, as here come the GTs unsighted and arriving on scene.
Yeah, let's see if they can get through here. They've already pounced, and they're now going to the outside of the track. Looks like all 4 of the cars that were involved, or at least stationary for a moment there, Nolan, are going to be out of the way. No, we still have somebody in the grass over there. Let's see, because there's so much damage on the front. I thought it might be a BMW, or it could be missing pieces, but that is the 2 front section there, and that looks all kinds of out of whack. Crabbing as well on the rear.
Yeah,
that's not the way to start your race.
A lot of front-end damage on Joao Vitor Delgado's machine. You also saw Enzo Alchini working his way around the GT field as he made his way out of pit road. No full course yellow to kick off the day this time. Frankly, a bit of a surprise for me on this one. They pulled the safety car instantly when it came in for the last time by, but that would, of course, fall into one of the rules changes. I do believe that we saw exiting Miami, wherein the safety car, from my recollection, it could not come out within the opening 5 minutes or so of a race. And now the full course yellow will come out, though, less than a lap in, or just over a lap in for the GTPs. But the AMs were able to at least get the jump off of the line.
Yeah, that was looking like it could have been a sideways BMW on the start-finish straight for these GTs, who, again, unsighted by the fact that they were getting that underway. So, right, you're trying to get the best jump. You're trying to make sure you're right on the back of your competition, and then all of a sudden there's a sideways GTP in the field there. Yeah, not the way that they want to get started. We're going to get a good look here at what was going on. Again, 4 cars stationary. We'll have to see where the jump happens. It looks like there's 2 cars trying to go around.
Oh boy, man, they stacked it up big.
And of course, there's nowhere to go, right, Nolan? There's a wall on your left. There's a wall on your right. There's about 10 foot of grass on your left. It's just a blender at that point.
Credit to them, right? I mean, they tried to get out of it. It just didn't quite work. Now, this was caused by another jump start. Now, the last race in Miami was caused by a jump start from the leaders in checking out. This was caused by the back of the field trying to anticipate the start and just getting it wrong.
Yeah, they were the 2 drivers, I believe it was the second to last row back there, that were both trying to move out of the wheel tracks and onto the right side of the competitors in front of them. And it just seemed like there was just a big squeeze effect. And again, as we head through here right now, oh, this is the replay here again. And my goodness me, this is a Spa 98 looking section of the race here. And good job on a lot of the drivers to not just floor it and try to get through as quickly as possible. They tried to make sure that they didn't cause any damage. Again, long race. We are 3.5 minutes into this 2-hour and 40-minute race. And again, as we've said before, you can't win it in the first corner. You can't win it in the first hour, but you can certainly lose it.
That is That is unbelievable. I mean, second race in a row we've had a crash, and this one arguably bigger than the one we had at Miami coming off of the line. I just don't know what to make of it. I mean, you'll have your race leader still being Thiago Mello for Bravo Sto Shatton. Grow Racing Team's Thiago Maduro Diaz leading the way in LMP2. He's up one spot, taking the race lead away from Doriano Ricciuti for Old Dogs Racing. You also have Frida Sports' Tane Hodison leading the way in the 912 Porsche for GTM for Frida Sports. So overall, I mean, it's been an interesting start. One of the class leads did change, although I have to say, I would imagine for Diaz, he was partially helped out by that massive stack up on the left lane.
Yeah, and I think that we've got a couple of drivers. So again, when you have this kind of caution, especially early on, right? You get the start, you're ready to go, the mindset's there, you're all geared up, you've been practicing for so long, the team's ready to go, and something like this happens. For some people, it's a lifeline. They may have gotten a horrible start, but it didn't matter because they brought the yellow out. And this could give them a kind of a chance to reset, right? You know, take a breather, maybe you lost a couple spots. You're going to try to get back into it. For the leaders, this will also be Melo, Diaz, and Hodison. This is going to be potentially a lifeline because this is going to be, if I'm not mistaken, a single file restart.
Yes.
And so that should give them a much better chance than on the full-blown restart when they're side by side.
I'd imagine this would be a relatively quick safety car as well, given that we've only just gotten this race underway. They don't need to go through an extensive class sort procedure. By the way, seeing something going on here for Visual Motorsports, Kyle Allen no longer in the car, and now Matthew Rutan making his way onto the racetrack. So a driver change for Allen, one of the drivers that made it through that mess. And I did see him tumbling down the field, and I wonder if maybe Allen has had a hardware failure that has forced Rutan to jump into the car early.
Yeah, I couldn't say. Obviously, driver changes are going to be happening, but we obviously would expect them. We're basically expecting everything much later on. And the 11 there, the American at the wheel. And that stop was, I mean, they were in the pits for about 11 and a half seconds or so. So it wasn't an extensive. It could have been just the swap, honestly, because there's no need for fuel or tires. So I would imagine, as now we have the 552 in the lane as well. That is Red Lad. That's Burnett there. Kevin Burnett. So both of those Delaras now falling back to 35th and 36th respectively. So yeah, again, this is just going to be about hanging in there for this phase of the race and just trying to get into a rhythm, right? They say at different types of racing that cautions breed cautions, but I think that this is going to be a much cleaner restart as everybody just wants to get racing. These guys really want to race. They don't want to be one of the worst tortures imaginable is just sitting behind the safety car, right? You're first, you're last, it doesn't matter. You just want to get out of the race.
And I'm sure a lot of drivers are kind of thinking, oh boy, here we go again, right? With how the race started in Miami a few weeks ago. And it's looking to be pretty similar this afternoon, albeit the one difference so far, no rain on the forecast, but still have most of the LMP2 field out here and running. There is Matthew Rutan. That's now catching the tail end of the pacing line, and it does look to me he actually might still just barely be on the lead lap, which would be a real lifesaver then that this safety car came out, because when you have a connection failure, right, you need to tow the car all the way back to the road before somebody else can jump into it, hence why they are now all the way at the bottom of the barrel in the overall positions as well. They're running 36th out of 7 overall. Class sort is now taking place. That will shuffle Alkini for BMW M Team Delta Racing to the head of his field, which means we should be getting this race back underway in the next lap or two.
Yeah, they're just trying to get, again, I was going to say trying to get heat into the tires, but I think you just want to hang on to the rubber that you've got. Considering, again, as you spoke about almost 96 degrees Fahrenheit, the track temp, so potentially these guys, not a lot of weaving, not a lot of tire warming, so it seems like they are good to go when it comes to the temps. And of course, the temps are going to be incredibly important on this restart. We have a look back here to the GT field. Looking at the number 90. Merrick in the number 90. So that's third GT Am. Back to the Mercedes there of Dubrow. In fifth position at the moment.
Of course, these guys
just want to kind of get a good launch, trying to heat up those rears.
On these guys right here, they're on the pit limiter, right? With the class war going on, that's the rule. Pull over to the right, let the traffic through to ensure there's no problems. Then they'll be allowed to catch up at the tail end of the field as well. For those of you that are just tuning in late to the show, we got one lap of racing in, and then we got our first safety car, and it was a result of this pileup coming into the start-finish straight. This was in the GT field as drivers in the back tried to jump the start, and it went about as well as you could expect.
Yeah, again, just looking at it more and more times, it just looks like one of the rows, again, just tried to sort its way out. And, of course, the main reason that they do that, right? Why would you try to jump the start? What's the idea behind, trying to get the overspeed on the guys ahead of you? And the idea is that when the guys ahead of you, if you can build a little bit of a gap and you kind of drive into that gap as it disappears, when the flag, or when the light goes green, when the flag drops, the leaders take off, you're already going, if not faster, as fast as the leaders. So you can actually jump your competition. So if you're sitting there right in line, you're a couple of inches off the car in front, and you go when the green flag drops, somebody could be already coming up next to you, and you go, well, how's that happen? It's because they've backed off, taken some space, and then they try to jump, they try to anticipate the start, so that as the start happens, they can then overtake almost immediately, trying to get the best restart possible. So that's why the mentality is a hyper-aggressive thing that can definitely pay off if you get it right, and we saw what happens there, Nolan, if you don't quite get it right.
Drivers are now looking to work their way through the tail end of the circuit here on this one, as we are continuing to fight our way through what has been a bit of an exhaustive opening few laps. And all the while, those tires get cooler and cooler. Now, especially for the GTPs, this is a problem, right? Because when you're running in a GTP car, it often takes you 2-3 laps to properly get those Michelins into a working, well, not a working, but an optimal tire temperature. They don't have that opportunity on a pacing lap. They especially don't have it when they only get one lap in and then have to spend the next 10, 15 minutes pacing behind the safety car. These tires are going to be bone cold when they go back to green here, which does look like it will be this time by. So I would keep a close eye on our GTP field. I feel like we're going to be getting ourselves some kind of an incident coming into these opening few laps here.
Yeah, obviously I would hope not, but I think that this is going to be a different kind of driving, right? You've got guys that, when the tires are optimal, for example, Thiago Melo, when the tires are optimal, they're extremely quick. When the tires are suboptimal, I wonder who's going to shine through. I wonder if it's going to be our usual characters, or if we're going to see anybody who has a bit of, almost like, they talk about people who are really good in the rain, right? They're very, very quick, but when it rains, they have that extra sixth sense that really helps them out in those tricky conditions, low lighting, spray, and they've got the bravery, they've got the skill set, they've got the patience sometimes to really shine through in those moments. Will we see a miniature version of that where we've got all these GTPs, 650 to 700 horsepower, about a tons of downforce, and some really fast sweeping corners here at Canadian Tire? Who is going to judge the braking zones and judge the attack points and getting on the gas early? Who's going to judge these, as you said, bone-cold tires here to perfection, and potentially this could change the complexion of the race the way that this begins, because again, as you said, the tires haven't really gone through a heat cycle. They've not been really able to effectively really get up to speed and go racing.
Well, green flag is green flag's in the air as everyone else now taking off towards turn one, and already a look being made for the LMP2s. That would have been for second.
Yeah, having a look there down the inside of turn one, nothing doing there. And Diaz holding position. As further back, it looks like we have a swap. Heading down the hill now.
A battle for 10th underway in the LMP2 field as Rick Team Racing trying to fend off Vision 1 Motorsports from behind. It's not been an easy ride so far for the LMP2 field either, and they're also side by side throughout this pack here in GTM as you got yourself the battle for 6th underway with Flight Level Racing, Go Racing, and Vulture Motorsports. Look at this side by side coming into Moss, and SR Motorsports just up the road becoming a thorn in the side of the Mustang.
Yeah, the Mercedes, I was going to make a comment about how wide it was, but I thought that might be kind of rude. I will have to say it now, making themselves extremely wide going into one of the better overtaking opportunities and down the Mario Andretti straight. Everybody's going to be getting a nice helping of toes. It looks like the Porsche trying to go inside, now goes outside on the 296. Is there any space? Looks like he's going to hang it around the outside here, which gives him the inside for the second part of the S's and now through into the entry to white. Ferrari's still on the inside on this clockwise circuit. And it looks like the 64 is going to be hung out to dry unless he has the overspeed down the front start finish straight.
And looking for 3 wide here into turn 1. That was going to be brave, and it ended up being Vulture Motorsports to carry the momentum around the top as SWF Motorsports throwing their hat into the ring on an aggressive 3-way dogfight for position. And don't forget, still have this battle underway for 3rd in LMP2 with Gamma Sim Racing, Paddy Engineer, and SRT, and Flight Level Racing still up for grabs here as well. Fury Sim Sport trying to enter the arena in the LMP2 fight as well. Majority of the GTPs starting to break apart up the road. Although you do have this loose side-by-side, well, not quite side-by-side, but a close fight between VSCA Racing and the World of Sim Racing team for 2nd.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looks like Mello was pulling away in the 20, but it all looks just about line and stern, about a half a second in it for each car at the sharp end. So no shuffling of the deck, nothing yet at the moment that would be any kind of confidence or low confidence from any of the drivers. So we look on board here, you can just see how wide of an entry, trying to get that late apex. Now on to the straightaway. Again, these cars, 700 horsepower or so, little over 1,000 pounds, little over a ton, and tons of downforce. And that will all go away as we try to tuck into the slipstream here on board World of Sim Racing team. Danny Fonte in the 51, currently holding down a podium position. Again, long race, so we'll have to see if they can stay there. And again, just leaning on that arrow through this long right-hander. And then you're dropping another gear. It's almost kind of the Maggots-Beckett's complex, Nolan. It's kind of, you go through the first corner, you almost kind of don't really think about it. And then as it tightens, you have to kind of back off, drop a gear, back off, drop a gear, and then finally braking for white as they come through.
Still have a battle for 6th place underway in LMP2 as well. Paddy Engineer and SRT trying to fend off Flight Level Racing and Fury Sim Sports. So there's a lot of fights underway in the early going of this one. Everybody wants to make it whatever spots they can muster in the opening stages. And again, you look at all the extreme fog right now around this racetrack. The headlights, though, doing a good job on cutting through the gloom. Out wide is the 47. That's going to let the 757 Flight Level try to go down the inside, and he'll take the spot away. And in fact, Paddy Engineer is going to end up losing 2.
Yeah, Fury Sim Sport in there as well. The 30 getting around. It just shows you just one mistake, especially in these prototypes. They're so sharp, and if you get it wrong, you got to try to gather it all up and just getting the nose in there and getting it done on the inside was the number 30. And now looking for yet another spot here. They head up the hill. And again, I would say, well, I don't want to commentator's curse here, Nolan. I would say that now we're officially racing, and I would be officially settled into the rhythm. You're kind of battling the cars around you and just kind of getting into your plan for the day, scheduled stops only, and just trying to make up as many spots as possible is obviously on everyone's mind here. We now look here at the battle for 6th in GTM.
Flight Level Racing with quite a bit of damage on the front end of that Mustang. You saw it a little bit. You can kind of get a glimpse of it there through the mist as that car looking a little worse for wear. You see all that front end damage. That's going to be hurting them in the front downforce department, which the Mustang already struggles with quite significantly.
Yeah, definitely. I was just going to say that there as they head through whites and onto the main straight. And it looks like they have 1, 2 Porsches behind. Ferrari in tow as well, losing out earlier on. Looks like the 64 is going Mustang hunting at the moment here. drivers going off track a little bit. It seems like potentially, again, it seems like a lot of the drivers still aren't comfortable with their tire temps. As we pick up the battle here, LMP3. This is the battle for second. This is Wolf Motorsport and Old Dogs. And the 59 trying to hunt down the 512. A little flash of the lights there, just letting them know that they're there. Or apologies, that was most likely for the GT earlier on, potentially causing them issues again. So we will see, Nolan, throughout this this session that a lot of the fast corners are going to be where we're going to see the largest difference in just corner speed, apex speed, minimum speed, if you will, for the prototypes who can just carry that much more. Through these kind of corners, they're about even, but then once they get on the loud pedal, these prototypes will leave the GTs behind, and especially through corners like this, if we stay on board, or I guess through this one here as well, that turn one, that the GTs just do not have anything like the grip of the prototypes through those sweepers.
Yeah, the GTs have got the top speed, so I would argue, potentially not quite match the LMP2s, but the LMP2s would still gap them in a straight line. But they could certainly get a little bit closer than they can with the GTPs. It's really the cornering speed where the LMP2 can stretch their legs, the Dallara P217s. It's part of what makes them so competitive as well, able to cut through dirty air way more effectively than a class like the GTP is capable of doing.
Look back here. Another battle. This looks like the battle for the lead in GTAM. It's the 912 out front. That's Tane Hodison and Richard Bell in the 75 AMG. And through the final corner here. So this battle is kind of tightened back up after a bit of I wouldn't even call it a lull. We haven't really had enough time for a lull at the moment, Nolan. And Free to Sport out there, SRN close in behind. And it looks like there's going to be some serious pressure, so this battle is going to be continuing here for a while as we have now down the pit lane. It looks like a BMW. Yes, it is a BMW. That is the BMW M Team TSR. That's the number 3 there with Cadiz, the American, at the wheel.
As well as that, Enzo Alchini, I believe, making a drive-through penalty as he will come out of pit road. In fact, it was drive-through penalty for him. Battle for the overall lead is on as Bravo Snow Shanton has been held up by a lap traffic significantly. And look at how close Nicholas Patterson is behind, trying to run him down.
Wastegate are licking their chops here. I believe we've already cleared the GT on our left. We're going to have more GTs on our left as well on the entry through. Doesn't look like we're going to have any way through. Again, it's not very polite to say, but that 75, that wide Mercedes, not giving us any help at all. And we'll just out-drag the leader in GTAM and try to make up for... I mean, we lost almost a second there. Well, probably about half a second or so on Melo did Pedersen. Nicholas Pedersen in the 32. And, of course, the nature of this, as we have another 2-wide battle there, everybody trying to make it through cleanly. So this is peak. This is pure VSCA here, trying just to pick through traffic, right? So it's not about the line that you take. It's about picking your moments and trying to carry that speed. As you see here, the Ferrari around the outside and not able to get through, surprisingly, on the far side of the circuit. That'll cost him a couple more corners.
So that's what that is that's just risk management, right? I mean, yeah, he could have gone for the move down the inside, but Moss isn't really a corner you overtake or even lap cars in. So that's just figuring, it's a long race, still have over 2 hours to go. You can run down 1.1 seconds in 2 hours. It's easily doable. Better to just back out and take the loss on time through the one corner and then make the pass cleanly with no risk down the back chute, especially this early on.
Yeah, definitely. And the body language looked like he may go for it, which is why I was kind of a little bit of heart in mouth. It looked like he was going to try to get 2 for the price of 1 there. And now here we go, the 64 down the inside.
Vulture Motorsports trying to go after Flight Level Racing. This is Lucas Santos racing Michael Adamczyk. Adamczyk's got the inside of the Mustang. Santos around the outside of turn 2, and just like that, takes the spot away. How about the over-under for Jason Brothers as the 94 gonna get turned off the road, sliding out wide, and he just barely keeps it out of the tires.
8 out of 10. That was a fantastic, for what was potentially a spin all the way around trying to get back in. The field would also be bunching up on that part of the racetrack, so it would have been extremely difficult to get back onto the racetrack without coming into the path of another car, as we'll see a replay here. And again, we're going to have a GTB into our right rear, apologies, Mustang into our right rear, and it just takes a little bit of a tap. So again, it shows you these drivers are 95, 98% on the limit, and all it takes is just, 5-6%. Just kind of get a little bit of a shove, and that's all it takes to send him around, even at that low speed.
That was an incredible save there. You heard him feathering that throttle, right? Trying to goose it just enough to keep it out of the wall, but not enough that he would spin all the way around. That would have caused the front to swing around. That was masterful car control there for Jason Brothers and SWF Motorsports. I'm sure after their hearts have calmed down, they're going to be mighty proud with that save there on that one. A lot of work ahead of him. He wants to run these guys down. He's down by about 3 seconds from the battle, but it could have been a lot worse. He's still within striking distance within a few laps from now if he can keep that pace up. Still have this battle underway, meanwhile, for 7th, and it looks like Flight Level Racing and Track Limit Sim Racing in LMP2 may have had it off here. James, let's see what happened between the two of them.
Let's see, so we've got an LMP, we have 2 LMP2s, and it looks like we've got the BMW. Oh, and they just try to go around the outside, so they've lost, again, another save. So much grip out there, it seems, especially, oh, and now we've got somebody sneaking through on the inside. That was extremely close. That was an LMP2 size gap, and he went immediately for it. So again, you can see the snap decision there, and that was, I said heart in mouth earlier. Surely he wouldn't have gone down down the inside, but also good racing there from the car that went off that didn't move over in the way as a reactionary measure. Now the 59 complaining with the headlights.
Yeah.
Trying to get this Mustang out of his way there. Of course, that Mustang involved with that accident earlier was also the same that had that splitter, potentially splitter damage on the front. And he's giving him the lights right back.
Yeah, Adamczyk expressing that he's not too happy about it either. And I can't exactly say I blame Adamczyk for this one, right? Because he's racing with Nicholas Goen and Nick Ebby right behind him. And he's got every right to race it out with these guys. This is a three-way battle for position. The 59 entry of Volt Dogs Racing was not racing anybody at the time. He says, well, I'm in a three-way fight. You can wait a corner to and pass me on the straight. I'm not moving out of the way for you because that would cause him to lose a spot or two as well.
Yeah, definitely. We're having a look here at the battle for 6th. All 3 of these drivers down 1 position. Vulture Motorsports with Santos at the wheel in the 64 up 3 positions. So that Porsche running well, the Ford, Ferrari, and Lamborghini all losing out there. As we now have the Ford on the inside just trying to hang on to this here at the moment. And Flight Level, the 747, still trying to... I just got that. The Flight Level 747 trying to pick its way through. And again, here comes another wave, if you will, of, looks like LMP2s.
And this is about a position
one
here.
One LMP2, 1 GTP.
No, this is LMP2, and it's about for 4 that just came to blows. They're both going to go around Gamma Series and off the road. Look out, there's a GTP cutting through the grass. Fury Sim Sport getting tangled up in that disaster as well. Make that Gamma Simmers going around, and Track Limit Simmers has a meatball flag. It is to complete disaster, and now the number 30 entry, I believe, going to have a black flag for hitting the 10-point incident limit.
We're 2 hours and 12 or so minutes into the race, and we're already seeing what I was not expecting until about the half-hour mark here. We're going to see a replay of this again. So we've got 2.5 into 1.
Oh, my.
And first of all, an immense impact. Second of all, everybody misses the other LMP2 that was kind of stricken on the road for a moment. So that could have been a lot worse. But again, that is That is the whole game right there. Just trying to scythe your way through the GTs, trying to hang around this outside line. Having to make a split decision without losing it.
I mean, at that point, you take the 1X on the off track, because it's better than tearing up your entire race car.
Yeah, definitely.
Now battle for second ongoing, and they're going to take each other out again. That's Old Dogs and Wolf Motorsports now both off the road at Moss. And a huge checkup from behind, and it is complete calamity in the LMP2 field, as all the GTs going to have to work their way up and around them.
Was that Hodison and Bell?
It was. No, sorry.
As well.
It was Marcus Young and who got into Diaz that spun them both off.
And I'm thinking right here, the two, all the GTs coming through.
This would be
amazed that they had well, I guess it happened in front of them, right? So they were able to see it. They had the presence of mind. Yeah, right here. So as you turn in, you're going to turn in with extreme caution because you don't know if that other LMP2 is going to be coming back onto the track. That's what I saw. I saw bowling happening there, Nolan. I was expecting to have 4 or more cars as we see the other cars coming through. GTP is trying to make their way through GT traffic.
This is getting a little bit dicey here. This is Bravo Slow Shaft and VSCA Racing. Round 2 underway in the battle for the overall race lead as they work their way by the 499 Racing entry. So effectively half the LMP2 field has been wiped out from various incidents now. No battles currently underway except one for 7th and 8th, but this fight here is what we're going to keep tabs on. It's for the overall race lead. You don't often see GTPs get this close to each other, but when you do, it's going to be something spectacular. We've had a crash.
Oh, missing a rear wing there, potentially. Oh, rear end. Oh, that right rear is completely out of alignment there. That is extreme opposite camber, and yeah, it's not even turning.
That's her points later as well for the Sprint Cup. That's World of Sim Racing's Danny Fonte, who's going to pull off the road. And remember, you're not allowed to tow to pit road until you get permission. This is likely going to trigger a safety car.
Yeah, especially with it being all the calamity we've seen earlier on, and with the cars tending to go wide out of that exit. And again, here's the battle. So this could be a big point here if there's any kind of lead change. And now it comes out. I was going to say, there's any kind of lead change, it could happen before the safety car completely turned the tables for Malo and Pedersen.
Holy cow. What a wild 5 or so minutes that we've just had here on the racetrack. Let's recap, kind of what we've seen throughout the last couple of moments here. We'll start with what happened between Gamma Sim Racing and Track Limit Sim Racing. This was the battle for 4th place at the time in your LMP2 field. And it happened as they were coming over the hill to turn 1. I mean, the 235 makes a very ill-timed move down the inside, and that's going to put one of our LMP2s hard into the wall, as well as spin himself around in the middle of the circuit. And again, very lucky for Gamma Sim Racing that he didn't end up just completely spinning out and taking out half the field with him here.
Yeah, the fact that Ferrari is still in the race, again, having to take to the runoff. My goodness me, everybody getting through there relatively okay. But he only had his just the lip of that splitter. He's basically taillight to taillight, or a headlight to taillight there. And almost a similar move, so same corner. And again, the front end getting a little upset over the curbing potentially. And just losing that grip. Again, these guys are trying to fight with each other, right? They're trying to dissuade, if you will, the other driver to just back out of it. Just get out of here, man. I'm coming through. I've made a brave move. And the car defending, just trying to show. Oh, and now look, there's a snap. Well, it's just snapped.
Well, the rear wing's already gone, so there's been something that has happened way before this even. But this is going to be all the way from turn 1 onward. Has he hit one of the LMP2s maybe to cause this?
Let's see if anybody closes him down. So here's there's the right rear, and then it just snaps. So one of the Porsches into the back.
Yeah. That was VSR Competizione that got him in the number 7 Porsche 963, and then as he comes over the hill here, With no downforce, there's nothing stopping the back end of that car from coming around on him. And he is going to catch the 235 of Gamma Sim Racing, causing that car to go spearing off. And the World of Sim Racing team is going to just fly backwards into the grass and back it hard into the tires.
Yeah, I really feel for that right rear. We're going to get another not so great shot there of it. It's just the camber's all off. I'm assuming the toe is ruined there. Here we go. We're going to see. I think it snaps maybe a second or two after the contact without any further, I'll say, assistance. So here comes the 963. There's a tap, and then it snaps off almost immediately into a relatively slow entry. And then again, as you said, there's no downforce on the rear. It's effectively, almost not necessarily a road car, but it's just a very, very fast, unstable platform at that point. Yeah, that's not. That's not the way the Cadillac designed that.
Bravo Snow Shatton is also missing the rear wing, and they were the one of the cars that was way up front. There has been a story. This would have happened under safety car conditions, because at this point the yellow flag waved, and then trying to check the timeline here. Yeah, this happened almost a full minute after the safety car was deployed. It's gonna be one of those days, I feel, James.
I think it already is. And again, right, so these guys, they're trying to make it through lap traffic. They've got an enormous amount of oh my goodness. That's the Mercedes going right into the back.
Well, and that's because Tiago Mello had to check up for the safety car to let it back through. But it's like, I don't understand. Why are we still going? You know the safety car is going to be coming out of pit road there. Why are we still going that quick?
I will say, just for the physicality here, it is worth a mention that the brakes on these GTPs are immense. The prototypes can slow down. They basically come out of hyperspace for some of these I say longer braking zones. They have extremely short braking distances because of, again, a little over a ton, extremely high downforce. Just lifting off of the throttle, Nolan, will slow you down the way that you would pressing the brake on a road car. So just the aero drag is immense. So again, one of those GTPs stamping on it, again, that shouldn't be happening under the safety car, but it really is difficult when you have a GTP putting on the anchors in front of you if you are a big AMG trying to get it stopped. But yeah, just a really strange one as we have all of the classes going back around, get that sorted out. And again, we now have Pedersen in the lead, Lopez in second, and the 963, who's seen their share of closeness with the rear of other machines. We're not 2 hours into this, Nolan. We still got plenty of racing to go, but this is definitely seeming kind of like a stop-start here.
And this one's going to be a much more extensive safety car as well. You have the lap traffic procedures to sort out. You're going to have pit stops under this safety car. Pit road, by the way, has not yet been opened. So, this is kind of going, it's going about the way you would normally expect for one of these longer safety cars to do. I would say maybe, 20 minutes or so we'll be back underway here. But, we look back at that incident, right? I mean, Bravo Snow Shatton down and out of the race now. Well, maybe not fully out of the race. They have a chance to get back into it, but it's not like they're going to be necessarily in a spot to fight for it. Bravo Snow Shatton, of course, wasn't exactly doing the best of the Sprinting Cup. They were down by almost 300 points entering today. Bravo Snow Shatton's a team that's been trying to, get that car through the works going. And I want to point out, Tiago Mello is not innocent in what happened there, but neither is Richard Bell. SWF Motorsports' SRM Motorsports driver also having quite the moment there. Oh, sorry. Apologies to Bell. It was Lawrence Dobro that ended up getting into it in the number 74. So apologies. It was not Bell, but it was one of the SRM Motorsports cars. It was the 74, not the 75. But the point is, though, and Tomas Silva has jumped into our YouTube channel. I think he kind of poises the pertinent question. I mean, yeah, you have to brake for the safety car, but there's a second question. Why are you going that fast at the start-finish line knowing the safety car is going to be coming out of pit road there.
Yeah, again, it's not the ideal way to go about it. Obviously, it's literally called a caution. Trying to make sure that you're just being safe. There's no way that you're going to be fighting a GTP even if we're in green flag conditions, not just because of pace but because of the class system. So yeah, it's a little bit of a head scratcher. The tricky part, right, of course, is that has changed the complexion of the race. We have a new race leader at the moment, and again, it's just about obviously pace is important, having that ace kind of in the hole is important, but when it comes to, as you spoke about earlier, Nolan, trying to make up a second and a half, trying to really push may not work out. Just being able to sight your way through traffic, making those good decisions, and just staying out of other people's accidents, especially the stuff we saw at the first start way back when. And actually, Nolan, if we have a look here, that looks relatively clear to me. I may be an optimist here, but that's looking a little less foggy and a little more bright.
As the sun continues to work its way through to the peak of the day, the humidity's still high, yes, but the sun's been doing its work to try to burn it away, and no doubt the heat of all the cars going through here has helped substantially as well. So 2 hours still left to go. Pit road is open, and we can expect the entire field to be coming down after 40 minutes of running. Evidently, I was wrong.
Any chance?
Mario Cappellucci from Visual Motorsports will stay out from GTP.
I just had a look to see if there's anybody who is going to be not taking the call there. So we've got the number 10 Ferrari for GTP. Looks like flight level the 757 Calvo at the wheel of that. It's going to be staying out as well. They've been involved in a couple of incidents early on, but they seem like they're going to be hanging out there for now.
Race out of pit road, and it will be Wastegate Racing who will lead the way out from Georgia Vermeulen. Good credit to the BMW M Team TSR drivers, though. They did attempt it. Driver swap, by the way, for the 512 for Wolf Motorsports Sim Racing. They are putting Johannes Witt into the car. So a couple of drivers getting driver swaps out of the way early on. Drivers, of course, are restricted to 1 hour and 55 minutes tops of running in the car, and drivers are required to run at least 10 minutes in the car for driver swaps. Most races like this, did we just have contact in pit road with the GTMs?
It looked like one of them checked up, or not checked up, but they had to take evasive action at least. Caught the end of that there.
It's off
But one of the Porsches almost into the wall, into the pit wall there.
Yeah.
So that would be where the teams come over the wall to then service the car. You're not allowed to be over the wall until the car is in position. Let's see, we're on board now. Is this going to be...
This is going to be with...
yeah, so we've got the Porsche in front of us now.
Yes, this is off of the SS Racing's Stuart Leslie. He did hit him! I mean, again, this is just drivers not paying attention or losing track of where they're at coming down pit road. And I feel like, this is now 2 incidents we've had of the Code 69. Or, not the Code 69, sorry. The full course yellow. Still on beer league time here. But it's one of those... It's one of those things, right? We bring another regulation into the mix. VSCA mandates human spotters. Normally you have a computer that will spot for you. VSCA mandates human spotters. This is now 2 incidents where they could have been completely avoided if the spotters are paying attention. And I have to say, I mean, normally a lot of people think, well, as a spotter, you can kind of relax during, a safety car period like this. But when you're in an endurance race like this, you have 3 classes, each one on conflicting strategies, and you have to be paying attention every single second. It's a taxing job.
Yeah, it definitely isn't easy there as we have a look at the 30, who's also been involved with some serious racing out there. All I can think of, Nolan, is potentially, and again, I'm not looking for, excuses or anything, but I think that potentially the GTPs at the far end, the Cadillac, and our previous race leader were in the pits and were there for an extended amount of time, so potentially those were there where they weren't before. That's all I can really think of when it comes to the Porsche diving in early and then having to go down 3, 4, 5 different pit boxes until they were able to find where they needed to go for service. And again, there is a race off pit road, right? If you get into your spot well, you get the car up, get it down, get the driver swapped over. If there's any issues, any at all, for your competitors, you could potentially make up a spot or 2 spots just by having a really good pit stop. And again, the main thing is just staying out of the pits as much as possible. Only scheduled stops if it runs that way. Obviously, we've had plenty of other drivers teams who have had unscheduled stops, which, as we've seen, can drop you all the way to the back and give you a mountain to climb.
Well, still under our second safety car here of the afternoon. So what we are going to do, how about this? Let's take ourselves with a quick jump back, and when we return, we will get back to more race in action here on Green Flag TV. You are watching round number 7 of the VSCA Sports Car Championship live on Green Flag TV. We have just under 2 hours to go.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the VSCA Sports Car Championship with the hashtag NEVERLIFT. Crispy 1-60 from the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. You are right now watching our second safety car here of the race with just under 2 hours left to go. Once again, my name is Little Ramble alongside James Newton, bringing you all of race in action from start to finish here on what has so far been quite the entertaining Saturday afternoon. A little bit more chaotic than the start that you and I were both expecting, but it's been a good show so far here, James.
Yeah, definitely. Well, of course, we are missing the GT Pros in both senses of the word, but it has not been wanting for action. And we've seen some fantastic moves. We've also seen some fantastic car control through a couple of incidences, unfortunately. We have a majority of the 37 still running, and we have a serious battle for the lead earlier on in both GT-AM and GTP. So I'm looking forward to this. I don't think any of this is done and dusted. And of course, they're all bunched up currently behind the safety car, as you said. And we've still got an hour and 50 or so minutes to go here. So this is going to be still a meal. I'm ready for it.
Let's recap why we are under our second safety car here of the afternoon. It all started with World of Sim Racing's Danny Fontaine. He got hit up the backside by the number 7 VSR Competizione entry. That car, by the way, having actually gone through a driver swap with Daniel Galvez into the car. So this is through one. It ends up happening into turn number 3, where the number 7 is going to catch the back end of Danny Fontaine. He went spearing off into the wall, coming down the hill through the left-hander in towards Moss.
Yeah, this is exactly where you want to make sure you have a Cadillac with a rear wing. He's going to turn in here. The 963 goes down the inside. He tries to hang around the outside, and there is nothing on the rear axle. He's missing so much downforce, which is so crucial for these GTPs, for any prototype in general. and the platform was just demolished. So he is in the pit lane still at the moment, and again, just really, really unlucky. And now we're seeing the incident earlier on there, Nolan. That was the leader, the number 20 BMW in GTP, getting rear-ended by the 74 SRN machine, and that again was just waiting on, or basically trying to check up to wait on the safety car exiting the pit lane, and it looked like the Mercedes just wasn't able to get it stopped. As we spoke about earlier, those GTPs with incredibly short, almost Formula style braking distances or lack thereof, and the Mercedes just couldn't get it stopped and just unfortunately went right into the back of them.
Yeah, it's a tough break for Bravo Snow Shatton. Now that entry is back out onto the racetrack with a new rear wing. Thiago Mello still in the car. So they are down, but they are not out. Of course, drivers making sure that they can try to complete as many laps as they possibly can. So we do have all 37 cars that started this race back on the racetrack, albeit you have 3 GTPs that are 4+ laps down and 1 of your LMP2s that is down and out as well. So at the moment, it is Visual Motorsports' Mario Campolucci who is leading the way in GTP, but not for long. That car did not come down to pit road under the latest full course yellow, and the pit stops open. It is a similar story with Flight Level Racing's Paolo Calvo currently leading the way. So Dan Piazza, fresh into the car for Old Dogs Racing, will be set to try and take over the lead from LMP2, much like Pedersen from GTP. From the back in GTM, everybody came down pit road in the M category. Tane Hoddison for Frida Sport continuing to lead the way, as they have right from the get-go in the 912 Porsche.
Yeah, Frida Sport really happy with the 912's performance so far, I'm sure. And I'm expecting more to come. They seem to be staying out of incidents. We only saw them really involved. I say involved. They were on the scene first of the GT class when it came to those 2 LMP2s coming together into the entry to Moss. And again, able to back off of that, not losing any ground to Bell with the SRN Mercedes, the 75. But hostilities will resume here, we expect, shortly. And again, as you said, all 37 runners out of the pits on the track the way we want to see them. And everybody has now basically been taken care of when it comes to the sort. And there we are, the sign we wanted to see there. Safety car in this lap, Nolan. So we're going to get going here in just a minute.
So drivers will have to work to get those tires back up to temp. And again, we're going to get a few laps of calm, and then it is going to get a little bit more dicey once again. Still have not made it more than 40 laps of green flag racing here on the afternoon. This latest safety car falling in right around the, I believe that would be just shy of the 20-minute marker here that this is going to fall under. About 15, 20 minutes, so not bad in terms of safety car times. And look at this here. See how Mario Campolucci is really stacking up the field. This is clever, right? Because he is now going to be able to allow himself to get a better launch coming out of White's corner, while everyone else is going to be spinning their tires, having to feather the throttle, going at such a low speed for the final few corners here.
Yeah, we're definitely expecting the 10 to get away as quickly as possible. Of course, with the restart, as soon as he exits this corner here, he should be getting the loud pedal down any second. Let's see if he backs it up any further. No, he is gone. He has pulled the pin, and we are back under racing.
And field taking off towards turn number 1. There go the GTPs without any kind of a problem. Oh, a near fight there for the LMP2s, but so far smooth sailing for them, and right behind them, the GTMs, including a very wounded SRM Motorsports number 74 from that incident under the safety car. And as the back of the field goes through turn 1, already Visual Motorsports' Campolucci is through Quebec at turn 3.
Yeah, he is. He's bolted here. He's gotten that right. And of course, he is the leader, right? He holds the pace as they come in through Moss. And again, drivers just trying to kind of feel each other out, see who's strong and where they are strong. This is kind of more normal. Oh, and that is almost half a car. That's Matthew Luke, the 30 for Fury Sim Sport. That looks like the exit just before Moss.
Oh,
where we've seen so many drivers, Nolan, go off there, either trying to get around other drivers. As we see now, the 11 trying to get around the 59 here. That is Matthew Rutan for second place in LMP2.
Boy, talk about getting dicey there between the duo as a late block down the straightaway. All of this right behind Flight Level Racing in the 7-4. I just got it too. Holy cow! I just understood that what they're doing with the number there. That is very clever. Sorry, 757 for the Flight Level Racing entry. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have a lot of fun with that now going forward as battle for the lead on in LMP2. You saw Old Dogs Racing. Oh no, the leaders are off. The leaders are off, and it's hard into the wall for Old Dogs Racing's Dan Piazza.
My goodness me, it just changed completely. I was talking about the complexion of the race. So the 757 hits the front, Rutan close behind. The 59 is moving, which is a good sign, but it is almost missing the left half of the car in a sense. And my goodness me, that didn't take long at all.
Matthew
replay, look here. Oh, just lost it on its own, just on entry.
Oh!
There was no grass either. Oh, that's the 30. So that was the 30 earlier on.
Yeah, and he went right into the end of the tire bundle, one of the worst places you could hit here. I mean, goodness gracious, that is a ferocious crash. It was followed up just one lap later by Dan Piazza for Old Dogs Racing, falling to the same tire tracks.
My goodness. Oh, yeah, almost a direct. I mean, you can see it almost looks like only one car went off because of the wheel tracks. They're almost in the wheel tracks of the other LMP2. And again, no grass on entry, no right rear dipping in, and just losing it through that corner. So now if you're one of the spotters, if you're one of the other teammates or something like that for the other drivers, especially LMP2, are you going to be, oh my goodness, in the 19 missing the front, I was going to say the hood, just the front section there, that's going to be, at least, that's going to be distracting.
We got another one off the road. It says Enzo Alchini for BMW M Team Delta Racing. This one, I believe, is at the S's here. It is at the S's, just shy of White's corner, and the right front demolished on the number 21 car.
Okay, that left front is completely gone. It's almost waving hello to us. He can sprint right back to pit lane there. These are coming fast and frantic here. I was going to say, Nolan, that as we have a replay here of Enzo. Now that looked like maybe a little bit of grass on entry. That looked like maybe the left side tires, potentially left rear. And just tore the splitter off afterward going through the grass. So again, let's look on the left side. Yeah, just a little touch, but I'm not sure if that would be enough.
It would be. With the GTP,
locked up all the way as well.
You got to remember, those tires probably were not up to a working temperature yet, at least not to the point where they realistically should be. So, yeah, that was absolutely just down to an unfortunate set of circumstances. Frida Sport's Logan Giesbrecht jumping into the car, and Frida Sport will bail out from the race lead in GTM and come to pit road. I don't understand.
We spoke earlier about.
Here's the thing. They pitted 8 laps ago under the safety car. Why are you now taking the driver change?
Yeah, that's a head scratcher there. I'm not sure why you would double dip essentially here as the battle for the lead. This is the overall lead. So this is Pedersen and Capellucci. The two Ferraris, 1 and 2. And the 32 now hunting them down. They have about a second in hand over Vermeulen in the BMW, so they have a bit of space to fight here. As bit of space as you can get, considering that we've not had a lot of green flag running. We've been bunching them up constantly. That's not what the leader wants, right? The leader wants to just go straight up over the horizon and not have to bother with their competitors here. We make our way down the Mario Andretti straight here. We're going to see a fantastic view of just how much ground we gained. Look at this. Through these really fast corners. We're already on the back of the Porsche in front. That's going to be hindering Mario Capellucci, who gets a bad exit onto the start-finish straight.
And all of a sudden, Nicholas Pedersen right behind Mario Cavallucci trying to go for the lead. Is he brave enough to attack here into turn number 2? He thought about it. Oh boy, Nicholas thought about going down the inside, coming down through Clayton. Took the wise decision not to, and he'll have to back off coming through Quebec.
He is showing in the front of that Ferrari every chance he gets. He's going, my car's red in your mirrors, look. He's really trying to throw him off. And now, again, defensive line. Looks like it's working. The number 10 really tried a horrible exit out of Moss here. Nolan, this might be a lead change right here now.
It's close enough for it here. This is going to get a little bit bold here. Furious Simsport going for a driver change as well in pit road. So they're going to put Dylan Babcock into the car. Meanwhile, for the overall lead, Pedersen backs out. Did not want to go for the overtake down the back straightaway and into the S's. Gordy Vermeulen now making it a 3-way fight from behind.
Yeah, the 10 able to hang in there. Speaking of hanging in there, there's 5 here, all line astern for LMP. This is the battle for second position. 5.5 seconds. Calvo in the 757 up front, which means that Maduro Diaz is fighting with the American Matthew Rutan, apologies. And Witt as well in the 512. This is all getting spicy here. So this is just a brawl here in LMP2. And again, there's aero wash coming from the drivers in front, and then you get the benefit of the tow. And it may not be as simple as catching the guy in front and overtaking. It may just be as simple as being one of the last cars in this group of 5 as they spread out now through the faster stuff. And they should bunch up down the straightaway, I would imagine.
And this is now turned into
really
a
battles.
fight for the lead as Paulo Calvo has come down pit road, and Jonathan Feuchte going to jump into the car for the 757 for flight level racing. Hence why we saw them all shift up a place as they came down for their scheduled pit stop after not pitting under the safety car as well. So this fight's still underway, and you also have now a 5-way fight for the overall lead of this race.
Nolan, what do we look at? This is fantastic. So Cavallucci in the lead, Pedersen right on his tail, and Vermeulen as well around the outside. Or apologies, down the inside. Around the outside for the 10. There's a McLaren. I was going to say in the way, but it's a GT car. So again, trying to get through the traffic here. It's not really about pace. It's about where you put the car, how you read the traffic, where you catch it, right? These guys are only a couple car lengths back, but it matters where you are on track. And again, around the outside there, fantastic move from the 20, our previous race leader. And now the 10 is in a spot of bother here.
And of course, that blue car was Bravo Stowe Shatton, who is several laps down and trying to work his way through the mix on fresher tires here than a good chunk of the front runners here. There's Nicholas Pedersen and getting around that lap traffic just in the nick of time to set himself up for the SS. And here's what's critical. Now Cavallucci has got another Porsche, that's Intercom Fisher Motorsports, in the way. So this could get a little bit hairy here for Pedersen as well as for Cavallucci. They're going to go alongside with the Porsche down the pit straight. No look into turn number 1.
Yeah, Cavallucci really comfortable for some reason about going for the late apexes. He's not going straight to the inside. He's waiting. There's no waiting here. 47 down the inside there, and we've got a couple of position swaps for LMP2. Again, this is very close to the lead. It was 5 for the lead earlier on as Calvo came into the pits. And now this looks like basically a battle for third position as the 11 pulling away a little bit. No lap traffic though for the LMP2s at the moment, so they're able just to kind of be line astern. But of course, that will, as the cards get shuffled in the deck, that will come into play here.
The problem that a lot of the GTPs have at the moment, especially with that long back straightaway, is that it's so significant in its length that Moss is so significant in how slow you have to tiptoe your way through there that by the time the draft actually starts to kick in for the GTPs, when you get more up to speed, you're halfway down the straight already, and that's just before it starts to take effect. It makes it extremely difficult to go for a look into the S's, and realistically, you don't go side by side through the S's. You just don't. You have to try to get the pass done on the run before. It's doable, but boy, is it ever a risky move.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of moves here, the number 11 going to try to clear this Porsche in front. Division 1 Motorsports leading Patty Engineering in the 47. But for how much longer? 2/10, and now again, fantastic exit there from the 47. But again, that aero wash means that he just gets not as much grip as he's wanting on the front end. Fantastic aerial view here. We get to see the different lines and the drivers driving it in deep. We're holding back for later apex. And yeah, again, you spoke about the entry from the Mario Andretti straightaway into the far side of the track there. Wow, look at the great line there from the 47. 11 going a little bit wide here. So basically, this is not a big braking zone. This is not, especially for the prototypes. The prototypes can just kind of take it, maybe a dab of brake or maybe just a lift and just chuck it in, right? They have the incredibly powerful aero package, weighing almost nothing. And here we go. This is getting really close now. Oh, and a little bit of a wiggle there from the 11 as they make their way through the S's and toward white. Oh, this is getting really spicy, Nolan.
And Visual Motorsports package and SRT still side by side as they power down the pit straight. And, of course, there is the look through turn number 1. A little bit clearer now on the forecast. Oh, he's going to make that look down the inside at turn 2. It's a brave spot for it. Going to make it work, though. And Connor Zabatsian going to get his way into the number 2 spot as Matthew Rutan will drop back to 3rd. Could fall to 4th because here comes Johannes Witt.
Now let's see how this shakes out here. Looks like they've righted the ship at the moment. Unfortunate how close together they are, considering that, a lot of times you have to go and hunt down somebody 10 seconds ahead of you purely on pace, and then you have to overtake them purely on guts. It looks like they've gotten that taken care of, and now we're having a look back here to the 90. This is 3rd place.
Yeah, you got yourself 2 Porsches and a Mustang. Fisher and Vulture Motorsports along with Flight Level Racing in the mix of this one.
Looks like turn 2 seems to be the spot where everybody is picking to have an overtake, which is also the point where we're seeing a lot of accidents. That's where a majority of the drivers have been going off at high speed. We've also seen some into this corner here. They come up over the hill, this long left-hander, very similar profile of corner. And it's kind of a crested corner, wall waiting for you on the outside. Now coming through, fantastic entry there. And now we have the leader pitting.
Yeah, that would be Mario Cappellucci, who will be coming down pit road here on the afternoon. Still have a tight battle underway in LMP2, as well as, man, oh man, this is getting a little bit dicey here amongst the number 11 and the 47 entry. Continuing to race this one out amongst themselves, nose to tail, almost bump drafting down the Mario Andretti straightaway, coming in towards the S's. Does Rutan go for the move on Zabatsian? He will not. Hangs back, tucks in line instead.
Yeah, it can be so frustrating when you get a run like that. Now immediately into the pits there. Most likely not out of frustration, but that could have been a brilliant move there. Of course, making that move then pitting immediately would have been the ultimate head scratcher there, risking it all around the outside into the S's only to pull into the pits seconds later. But of course, racing drivers, right? They always want to go for any kind of move that's available.
Driver swap for Visual Motorsports. Kyle Allen jumping back into the car for the number 11 entry, as well as for the number 10 in GTP for Visual 1, as Thomas Martin will hop into the car as well. Pedersen resetting the new fastest lap at the head of the field, a 106.788. And with pit stops currently underway, let's get a chat in here with one of the drivers that had quite the stint here. Paolo Calvo for Flight Level Racing's number 757 LMP2 entry. And I tell you what, Paolo, it was quite the nervy moment for you guys throughout the grid there. You opted not to pit under the safety car. What was the thinking behind the decision there?
Well, I mean, like you said, it was a crazy start. We were debating, we were going back and forth. We do have a little bit of damage, actually, that we considered taking under that safety car, but we decided it was best to just stay out and get ourselves into the window so that John could get in the car. He's a little bit faster than me. He's got about 3/10 lap on me. So that's kind of why we made that decision, that we could put ourselves in the window to put our faster driver in just straight through to the end without exceeding his maximum drive time was really our concern. And then, yeah, but the car's great. I think we really have a good fighting chance here. We might need a little bit of yellow to help us out, but I think no matter how you slice it, we'll be right in this show, I think.
You look at how the race here started off as, you've just had one of your teammates spin off in the GTM category, but you look at how this race started, right? I mean, it's been a bit of a doozy, I think, for a lot of drivers here. There's been a lot of aggression being shown. It's a track that's very hard to overtake at, and I think that's been catching a lot of people out today. What's been your assessment?
Yeah, it seems like just nobody's really pulling punches, which is what we've come to expect in this league. I mean, everybody drives the wheel off the race car every day. I mean, in the warm-up before qualifying, I think people on race runs were all within like 3/10 of each other. It was crazy. So it's, yeah, everybody's going for it, and everybody's getting a little elbows out. I mean, I even made a little mistake. Kind of chose the wrong way around a GT3 and had myself a little off. Yeah, it's been chaos, and a lot of the blind corners here don't help. You sort of roll up on some slower cars out of a blind corner, and you really don't have a ton of time to make a decision, which is kind of unfortunate in that sense. But yeah, it's just been about keeping our head. Once I sort of had that off, I was like, all right, I'm gonna take about 5% off her and just kind of play with my head and not really throw the car into a wall, you know.
Well, looking at the championship as a whole, as we are entering the second half of this one, obviously, overall championship, you are just shy of 70 points out of the top three. You're less than 40, though, in the Sprint Cup. Do you reckon a podium in the championship is on the cards for that 757 entry?
Yeah, that's the mission with the 7.5. We're just trying to get it into that top three, and who knows, maybe we get lucky in the back half of the championship. You know, I know some of the other teams that are up in the overall championship even have had some issues lately. So if we can kind of keep our nose clean, I mean, obviously Miami didn't really go the way we wanted, just having kind of a comedy of errors that weren't really our fault. But you know, there's work to be done there, and then also I think we'll be getting some help. We're going to be opening a car. It's going to be the number 767 for Watkins Glen. So I think we got a really good look in the next few races here.
If you ever open up a 777, it better be with the biggest and widest car that is on offer for VSCA. We'll wish you the best of luck when we go racing next time out, and congratulations on the good run so far.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a good one, and as always, great streams, so keep it up, guys.
Paulo Calvo from Flight Level Racing coming by to join us here in LMP2, and James, a litany of incidents throughout that. The biggest one, as you can see, it is for Paddy Engineer SRT's Connor Zabatsian, was at one point fighting for second. Not the case anymore. There's a lot to take a look at here. We will start with what happened to the 747 entry in Moss with Michael Adamczyk.
Saw them go around there, and then again just having to hop up over the curb. So they've gone into the back of an LMP2, and the rear kept going. The front basically stopped. They've already had front end damage on that Mustang. See another frustrated Mustang heading through there as well, trying to get around or down the inside of our previous leader. NGT AM, and now we have another moment here. This is live. This is the BMW backing into the wall there with, I believe that was a 74. SRN.
No, this was still about a couple laps ago. This is SR Motorsports' 75 entry now, and he hopped the curb and wiped Sam Vaughn out into the wall. That was Richard Bell this time that brought that one around. But the big moment came with Paddy Engineering SRT, and it may have been contact here with Frida Sport.
Yeah, horrible place to go off. Obviously, the speed is about as low as it is anywhere on track, so you're not losing as much lap time. Oh, here they go around. Oh, so and they're going to get collected in that barrier again. Same spot. Unfortunately, a popular destination for today. My goodness me. So they have a look down the inside. And they back off and think about it again. Oh, and then the other car just tries to go. They couldn't tell which way the Porsche was going to go, but they was going to back off into the grass or come forward toward the apex.
That was Thomas Martin for Vision 1 Motorsports that had that moment. This is what he saw. I mean, he throttles up in the middle of all of that as well. I mean, at that point, just hit the brakes. Like, self-preservation, and now he's wiped out one of our LMP2 runners.
Yeah, I think in that moment, all he was thinking was just trying to get on which side of the Porsche do I go on without losing as much time. And basically, the Porsche was just kind of in front of him no matter what he did, so he would have had to have backed off in order to not make contact with any of the other drivers. And of course, he chose right, as I say, the direction he chose was right. And that resulted in him sending the LMP2 off of the road as well. Extremely, extremely unfortunate.
And we've had another moment with flight level racing. This time it was the 747 again, as there is SRM Motorsports' Richard Bell pulling into pit road now. So this is what happened to Michael Adamczyk. Second time for Adamczyk on this one. And just too much movement on the way into the S's.
Couldn't tell if that's the 74 or 75 in front of him, the other Mercedes. But it looked like the Mercedes was kind of down the inside. The LMPs, or not the LMPs, but the prototypes going around the outside. And again, that's a grass touch. That is a that's a right rear tire, 2 inches off of the black stuff. And it seems like that is the catalyst for some of these incidents.
I mean, this has just been a messy stint for the last 15 minutes or so. We're still shy of halfway, by the way. Not a lot of drivers in. Sam Vaughn now has a meatball flag. So BMW M Team TSR yet again having a big crash, and this one's going to have to force a safety car.
Yeah, you can see that car, it's almost dug into the ground there. And actually, you can see that there's damage to the rear wing across the wing plane.
There it is.
I do not believe that's going to be going anywhere.
No, it will not. So a litany of incidents yet again puts this race under the safety car. Well, I'll tell you what, for flight level racing and the 757 entry, this was that yellow that they were hoping for, so they can probably take advantage out of this one.
Yeah, we were just talking to Calvo about that, and again, this is going to be similar to the very beginning of the race, right? You've got all these moments where the highs and lows of motorsport, and as we see there, Witt in the pits, Bosian in the pits, Connor in the 47 as well, who's not been, and now here we go. So GTP's backing off, waiting for the pace car, or safety car, apologies, and they will pick it up without incident, which is good. Normally things I don't really check, but we're making sure that we are following procedures and everything's good. It does seem kind of silly, right? But you have to make sure, as your, let's see here. So we got the entry. We already have rear damage, potentially.
Oh, definitely. He's missing the whole trunk light. I think that may be a loss of, lost rear downforce. Oh, my goodness! Speared off to the right side of the track, then fired across the left. I thought for sure he would have lost the back end and nosed it into the left side wall.
Yeah, and it would have just he basically kind of drug it off of that left side wall. No, he's gone in. There's a bit of a bump right about there, a little bit of unsettling, and it's a long slide. Nolan, that was 50 yards or so. That was a very long slide, and he almost held it. So again, the slide starts about here. He's basically sliding there, sliding, and then he tries to catch it, and the right hand down, and it's just too much, basically overcorrection. And by that point, he's on the grass. He's basically a passenger. So he almost got that back, and then he did get it back, but he still had right hand down, and that's what caused it to snap. And again, with the rear damage. So here again, watch the wheel to the left if we can. So he's in the left. He's going to straighten the wheel out a little bit, straighten the wheel out, and then just a big old snap.
That is such a violent impact. That's a much more violent shot than I thought before. Enough to fire him back across the racetrack. He's just lucky that because obviously when he's coming back across the racetrack, he's going to be on the brakes. There's just nothing you can do in that situation. You're a complete passenger. He's just lucky he was in a spot that was relatively open, so he didn't have anybody coming up on him to T-bone him.
Yeah, we've seen a whole bunch of obviously prototypes catching up to the GT AM class, and they've been bunched up, 2 and almost 3 wide. You've got 2 prototypes overtaking each other, or potentially 2 GTs fighting while a prototype passes on inside, the outside, down the middle, all different directions. And none of that was going on, thankfully, not just for the BMW team, but for those prototypes as well, not getting collected. So again, we've got these downhill left-handers here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park that are really causing a bulk of the issues. And it really is tricky. And by the way, Nolan, I was checking out the re-entry to the track from the BMW we just saw go off earlier on when they had that incident down into Moss. Again, Moss, a good corner to go off in the sense of you're losing the least amount of time on track. If you're stationary on the Andretti Straight, for example, you're losing so much time because you're not going 150, 60, 70. But when it comes to trying to rejoin, the number 3 had to wait forever. It was almost like a karting thing, right? You get out of line, you try to get back in, and it's just a freight train of cars nonstop, and you have to wait, 20, 30 seconds before you can get back onto the track. So it looked like a nightmare earlier on, and I think that nightmare's continued.
Boy, it just keeps coming, doesn't it? It's the incident that, just does not seem to end here on the afternoon. I'll tell you what, this has looked to be a bit of a journey here today, and while we are just past the halfway point now, 1 hour and 20 minutes down, 1 hour and 20 minutes still left to run. We're going to take ourselves another step back. When we return, it's the second half of racing action from Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. You are watching the VSCA Sports Car Championship on Green Flag TV. Stay with us.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. The class sort is underway as we are getting set to return to race in action for the hashtag NEVERLIFT Crispy 160. We are under our 4th safety car now of the afternoon, and it comes after a huge crash for Sam Vaughn into the turn 2 wall on the right-hand side of the circuit. This is another look at what happened to BMW M Team TSR. They had damage at the back end, loss of rear downforce, causes a bump in the car to spear him off the road, slams into the fence before firing back across the track and coming to a rest on the left-hand side. Hence why we slow this race down once more. That car was not going anywhere. Once again, my name is Ola Ramble alongside James Newton, bringing you all the action from start to finish on what has been a wild one here this afternoon. And, well, James, race in action looking like it could be spicy once again. Lights have just gone out aboard the iRacing safety car.
Yeah, we're getting ready to go here. There it is. I love that message. Safety car in this lap. So we're going to get some green flag laps once again. We saw that, Nolan, that fantastic camera angle I don't believe I saw earlier on, where both left side tires on that number 3 BMW that had the incident were basically off the car. I did not see that those were that damaged. Obviously, hitting the wall backwards and sideways was what caused that, but I did not realize. I was trying to figure out why were they not able to get it going. Maybe there's engine issues, something like that. Maybe just had to, restart the car or something. But
I mean, engine issue, I would say would be pretty applicable too.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely bad luck for them. Having a look real quick at the standings at the moment, we have Red Lad Competizione, one of the LMP2s, the 552, currently second in class, up 9 positions. Rentley SRT in the McLaren, number 17, up 9 positions in the GT AM. And right behind them in 6th place, Wolf Motorsport, the 515, also up 9 positions. So 3 cars really, really benefiting from this war of attrition we've seen so far.
Coming around through turn numbers 9 and 10 as we get set to go back to racing. Once again, still have just over an hour of racing left, an hour and 11 and a half minutes. Green flag is back in the air, and we will get this show back on the road here for the VSCA Sports Car Championship 7th round. And it looks like the fight will mostly be for the race lead in LMP2 as we hightail it down to the turn number 1.
There we go, Burnett all over the back of the 14. And now trying to have a look to the outside potentially. Going to try to hang it around the outside with the arrow. And there it is, but can they hang on to it? Very close to the edge of the track. And that may be a done deal immediately off the restart, so a lead change. Wow. Slotting right in front. Arrow wash happening, and now there's more bleeding there.
And we got one car off the road behind. And that's one of Sim Racing again going off the road, this time at the Moss hairpin. And that car is hurt. It is hurt bad.
From bad to worse. We'll get another look at it here. So we got an exit. We have our BMW Motorsport behind. Just rear-ended. Potentially break. Well, not the victim blame, but potentially, braking early, catching them out on that restart, trying to get the tires up to temp. As we now have side-by-side action here. Around the outside is going to turn into the inside for the final corner. Or are they going to leave the space on the outside? They are. So the 90 leaving plenty of space for the 64.
Not
not able to hang it on track.
And not the only one as well, as you have SRM Motorsports and VSCA Racing side-by-side for the 11th place spot. Both of those cars one lap down in their respective classes as well. As well as that, the 499 Racing Lamborghini, the lone Lamborghini in the field, spearing off the road as Nick Ebby, having this problem, slides around big time and huge hit into the wall down at the SS.
Yeah, it just looked like, we'll get a better look here. Just a moment. Oh, just a huge overshear moment. So again, that Lamborghini mid-engined. The Mustangs and the Mercedes have front. Oh my goodness, airborne for so long, and of course when he comes down, it's just going to hurt that much worse on the tailbone. Very, very hard suspension. Reasonably compliant over the curbs, but that wasn't a curb. That was falling off of a cliff. Pick up a flurry of the GTs heading into the S's.
And this is Wolf Motorsports Sim Racing and SWF Motorsports not side by side, but nose to tail. That car in front of them is a lap down, so not racing these two for position. And the 515 Mercedes having a hard time hanging on against that Porsche as Jason Brothers really trying to work his way around Claudio DeSanto. 499 Racing, a new driver jumping into the Lamborghini here for their entry. As they try to get themselves up and rolling, it'll be DeMarcus Rogers who will look to be the next one into the car. Track Limit Sim Racing also into pit road. They're going to put Randy Marino into the car.
Reno will take over. Still over an hour to go. There's we see now the 499 back into the pits. 83 as well. And what is left of the three, that's Patrick Bullard in 83.
New driver going.
It's a good sign that it's now back on the ground. We'll have to see how long it takes for them to get back on to track. Picking up on track here, Wolf Motorsport trying to stay in front of the ugly but still working 94 of SWF Motorsport down the inside there. I spoke about that not being a braking zone for the prototypes necessarily, but for the GTs, they're going, as you said, Nolan, earlier, about a similar speed to the GTPs. But of course, they have to brake much, much earlier, which increases the braking distance, which makes it a pretty decent overtaking spot. And that's what the 94 needed to move up into fifth.
So Jason Brothers and Claudio DeSanto making a good run of things here as Nicholas Goen will jump into the car for the Goen Racing number 19 Ferrari in GTM. Still have Intercom Vision Motorsports with now Marek Gudansky behind the car, the number 90, trying to fend off Lucas Santos from behind for Vulture Motorsports. Hour and 7 minutes still left to run as we work our way deep into the second half of this race. And Wolf Motorsports Sim Racing. Wolf Motorsports Sim Racing's 512 has just been disqualified from the race. So no longer being
That'd be
scored.
An incident limit there.
Yes, it will be. They got that about 3 laps ago, and now they have been DQ'd because they failed to serve the black flag in time.
Oh my goodness. So incidents earlier on, and just failed execution there.
Boy, what a tough break for them.
It's definitely not the way that you want to be going out of the race, obviously, even if you're having to crawl across the line, as we see yeah, there it is. So Witt in the 512 official failing to serve the black flag there. We now pick up the battle for P2. This is second and third at the front of the race.
Roberto Archer for Rick Team Racing will be into the box this time by the number 87 entry. So he'll pull into pit road. You also have that fight for second currently ongoing. Vermeulen and Charlie Rudd nose to tail for Gamma Simmers and BMW M Team TSR. And a little behind them is Mark Sturchell for Albrecht Motorsports, who would love to throw his hat into the ring as well. And look at how much Vermeulen's able to gap Rudd down the straight. I think that kind of shows Vermeulen's got a much lower downforce setup going to the moment than Charlie Rudd does.
Yeah, it's looking like, and there he goes, diving into the pit lane there, so he'll be out of the way, no longer punching a hole in the air down the straights, but also no longer disrupting that very important airflow over the GTPs. So he'll get some clean air, and Mark in the 96 will try to get that Cadillac further up the field. And actually, he's only about half a second behind Rudd. So Charlie Rudd and Mark Sturchell very close, only half a second in it for the lead of the race. Having a look here now, this is the battle for first in LMP2.
By the way, Nicholas Pedersen came down for VSCA Racing into pit road for a scheduled stop. Kyle Burney going to jump into the car for them as they're going to drop down the order now. As a result, Red Light Competizione Grow Racing Team still racing nose to tail with Kevin Burnett and Thiago Maduro Diaz for the number 1 spot in LMP2. About a third of a second separating the two of them. And then they've got another 5 seconds back to Jonathan Foschtik for at the moment in the 757. So no pressure from behind. These two are able to just fight this out amongst themselves.
Well, I think I might correct you there, Nolan. I think one of the drivers has no pressure from behind, and that would be the Grow Racing Team. Red Lab, tons of pressure from behind here. And this may be the moment here around the outside. Well, a little too far back, most likely. Again, the LP2 in the front. 552 just punching a hole through the air, and the 14 can get right up in that slipstream. And then now this is where you want the driver in front out of your way. So thanks for the toe there, and now just please move so I can get that fresh air to the front of my splitter. And not the best exit there out of whites and into the first corner here. This has been raging for a while, and now there's a GTP. Potentially GTP as traffic. And now 2963's going out of here. This is for second place.
No, this is for the lead. This is JD Downs.
Oh, this is for the leader, so that's Daniel and Galvez.
Yeah, the GTP's in the middle of a pit stop window at the moment, so the lead keeps swapping back and forth about every lap. Right now, Daniel and Galvez are fighting for the race lead in the GTP category, and they have just caught the back of some of the GTMs as well. Going to make it a little bit more difficult, but I would expect for these two drivers to be coming down to pit road, I would say probably within the next lap or two here as they try to get themselves sorted. In fact, right on cue, here comes VSCA Competicion's Daniel Galvez into pit road. Meanwhile, side by side for the LP2 lead as Diaz down the inside of Burnett in towards the S's and Grow Racing Team into the LMP2 race lead.
They've got it done. Let's see what... Oh, a big old twitch. This may really open up for an over-under here. Potential on the exit, so he'll go out wide, cut late, and try to get a better... He'll be able to get onto the gas much sooner than the 14, and that's going to get him dragged all the way to the back of him as we head up into turn 2, which we've seen so many moves made and attempted. And actually, it looks like he's dropped him a little bit there, so the 14 looking like they were under attack earlier on, and now it looks like they may have the pace to just walk away. So at the moment, JD Daniel putting on, Maduro Diaz putting on a good performance in the 14 at the head of the LMP2 field.
Meanwhile, in third, Mike Staneke trying to fend off Nico Loikkanen from BMW M Team TSR from the rear. So a two-way fight going for third place in GTP right about now. These guys running about 45 seconds behind JD Daniel for Pack Simsport. They are right now net P2 and P3. They will look to be about 7 seconds behind Kyle Burney once he comes down to pit road. So these are two drivers that are fighting for podium positions in this race no matter what. Oh, a huge tank slap coming out of Moss there for Loikkanen.
Humongous there. 25 getting all kinds of sideways, some lateral acceleration. So again, just trying, right, you're so close to the driver in front. Again, we won't have a lot of braking into this corner here. We'll have a little bit of braking through here, and then again, just getting a good exit. Trying to get a late apex, a little bit of curve, not too much. Tons of outside curve here, and now we're tucked in. So this is where we're gonna be losing time, right? We're trying to stay in the wheel tracks, but there's less air in front, and actually we were able to get a decent launch. And now through 2 here, a little bit of a wider line. We're going to try to cut it back. Nothing really happening from that. And again, just these long, long corners. You have to be so patient on the throttle. You got to get good entry speed without compromising the exit. Try to get on the gas as early as possible. It looks like the BMW is happy just to go outside, inside for the entry and exits. Again, looking for that final podium position. Cadillac looking strong at the moment.
Still have momentum between the two of them. Here's the Grow Racing Team LMP2 to pit road, and you saw as well Sergio Ostas for Red Lab Competizione down into the box as well. So plenty of more action yet to be had throughout the LMP2 field. Let's check in on some of the GTMs as Renly SRT's Dave Bogus is racing with Lucas Santos, and they are still right behind Marek Gdansky for Intercom Fisher Motorsports' number 90 entry. So it's continuing to be a little bit of a doozy in this GTM battle. It's got a three-way fight going as well.
Getting close, and again, there's opportunities for the GTM. So obviously the prototypes coming through, the LMP2s and the GTPs can benefit or lose ground from catching the traffic. The other thing that you can do is, or not the other thing, the other way that that coin flips is the GTs as they all pile into the pit lane there. So that battling will be resuming later on. Pick them up and get that 90 serviced.
And a driver swap as well, as Aaron Beaver going to jump into the car. Right behind him, Robert Sochata going to put John Pellaro into the car, and Kyle Potter jumping into the machine for Vulture Motorsports. So Lucas Santos' stint finally comes to a close, allowing for Kyle Potter to now take over from here towards the end of this race. And there is JD Dan of Pack Simsport staying in the car. That's now going to allow Wastegate Races' Kyle Burney to once again retain the race lead. So the grid is now set for the GTP fight, as we reach under an hour to go. Overall, by the way, Vision One Motorsports has Kyle Allen as well as Flight Level Racing running third and first. So right now, Fortune leading the way overall in the field, but that's not going to last because he is due for a pit stop any lap now.
Yeah, they're just trying to run it as long as they can without hurting their end of race, as I guess you could say there. We've got a handful. It looks like all the leaders in all three classes are 7 or so seconds plus ahead of the rest of the field. And again, this one is because they have not come in yet, or for their expected stop. And here he goes. Here's a cluster now.
Nathan Cryer for Renly SRT.
Going around the outside of the McLaren now, down the inside.
That was a brave look for Daniel Gralti through there, wasn't it? And you have to wonder, maybe Cryer is nursing something here, as he's been running quite slow for the last little while.
Yeah, the 17 almost looking like they're trying to kind of stay out of the way. They're still on the racing line, but they do not seem to have any kind of pace that is worth fighting with right now.
That car is fresh out of pit
really
road.
Twitchy.
Well, that car is fresh out of pit road with a new driver into the race car as well. So I wonder if maybe Cryer's just having to get up to speed with the car he's been given now.
Yeah, that rear end, it looks twitchy on entry. It looked a little twitchy on exit, but that could have just been trying to get the power down, trying to kind of get to grips with kind of how it feels. They're trying to see what they can do, what they can't do. This will be a good test here, this downhill, and straight off, so that front end just not biting at all, understeers onto the grass. Good to pick it up, but I think that they are just now understanding just how much of a problem they have for that McLaren.
Yeah,
that is not a good sign for them.
There's new driver entering the car, and then there's this. This is not just a new driver into the car. He's got a very significant problem that he is working within that car, and, you know, based on the twitchiness of that machine, I wonder if he's lost force feedback in his wheel. That's one of the few explanations I can think about why we're seeing all these jerky, awkward movements. Because if you lose that force feedback, for those that aren't familiar, that means you don't feel anything. You don't feel any resistance of the car when you're turning. You don't feel any of the bumps in the road. You don't feel the rumbling of the curbs. And that means you don't feel when the back end is starting to come around on you. And you also don't feel when it's starting to understeer on you. There's so much information you have to take from feeling alone in these cars. So if he's lost that, this is devastating for them.
If that is the case for him, then he is doing a phenomenal job considering he's still on the track. He had that short off. But the fact that he's able to, if he's hitting these apexes, he may potentially, again, we're not sure, he may not know where the front wheels are when it comes to the grip. Yes, he's having to kind of break through the entry and almost guess, as you said. He basically has the same amount of force going through the wheel as one of those McDonald's play place plastic wheels there. He's just spinning it, and again, right? He's got the visual cues, he's got the sound, he can hear, you know, the tires in pain and everything. But again, he's driving phenomenally well if that's what's going on. And we have a look here now. So he's taken a couple of times to get the front end of that 720S into the exit, basically, of Moss, and we'll head down the straightaway here now. Seems like he's wiggling around.
His last lap was a 122. The rest of the GTs are running 116s, 117s. He was 6 seconds slower than everyone else in his class last time by. Wolf Motorsports Sim Racing still down and out of this one, as well as, what's the lap time this time by at the line as 118. So he's got some pace back here, but it still is not up to full chat.
Yeah, no, it looks just like straight up understeer. I think he's about to go off there as well. It looks like he turns in, he gets near the apex, and then he basically cranks on an extra 10, 15 degrees of lock regardless of the corner. I was trying to see if he was favoring right-handers, left-handers, or the type of corner. And it seems like he just has chronic understeer to the point where no matter how far he turns the wheel, he doesn't seem to want to turn in. He's having to approach almost every corner on this racetrack with significantly less speed in order for the front to be compliant. And again, just every time he tries to go through an entry, he has to crank on the lock even more so. And of course, if you crank on too much lock, then it almost gives you nothing. You're basically, your wheels are looking to the right or left, and the car just goes straight on.
Tim McLeish jumps into the car for the number 74 SRM Motorsports GTM entry. Whereas Tamer Elbaga racing now for the VSCA Racing Mercedes as well. So McLeish will drop a position, now down to 10th in the AM field. Right now, not too many battles for on-track position going on out here. A lot of the pit stops have really shaken a good chunk of this grid up.
Yeah, definitely. This race has really kind of settled down into what we were thinking maybe happening earlier on. But again, this is just because they're not wheel to wheel, or at least nose to tail, you are still fighting, right? You've got a gap in front of you. It's either going up or it's coming down. You're either moving forward or you're moving backward, most likely. And especially with the traffic, even if you don't have the pace, if you're able to kind of work through, as we see here, this is about as crazy as it's been. As we see the 499 Lamborghini machine trying to get out of the way. It's almost 4 wide down the backstretch, and it may get even worse than that here as we have the GTPs catching up to the GTAMs. And this is exactly what the race is all about. It's 51 minutes to go, and it's almost like a tide, right? The tide goes out, the tide comes in, and being able to manage this traffic is, oh my goodness, quite squirrely. The number 7, the 963, trying to get away from the BMW, chasing them down. Getting quite tense out there.
And Jonathan Lopez making his way around J.D. Danny for Pack Simsport a few laps ago. This was the pass for number 5 in the GTP field. You see all that lap traffic that's ahead of them, making it a rather uneasy task, and just shoots for the gap 3 wide up the middle and says thank you very much. Takes the spot away, as overall still have a race underway as well for 3rd in the GTP field, with Mike Stanecke and Anthony Mafucci racing for 3rd.
Here comes the Ferrari here. 37 looking for a podium. Quite strong, Mafucci. And you're getting right up to the back of the LMP2. Down the inside, no issues there. And again, look at all the traffic up ahead. So he can see that, obviously. He's able to see, and we saw earlier with that overtake as well, Nolan, that the leading 963 just got boxed in. And that's how the other drivers were able to overtake. They basically chose the left side. They had an LMP2 in front and a GT down the middle, and they couldn't go left because of the grass. They couldn't go forward because of the LMP2, and they couldn't go to the right because of the GT. So making those decisions, it's not that they could know the future, but trying to get those just right. As we have almost potentially contact
Oh,
there.
we do.
Oh, and around goes the 137.
That's, oh my goodness, this is a really
That's
dangerous.
the exit of Moss.
This is a really dangerous spot
That's the
to be
exact freight
stopped.
train area.
As Mafucci will get the car up and rolling. Canvas Sim Racing having an off. Question is, has he had help in this one? This is, yeah, he kind of helped himself, and whoa, boy, look out for the field as everyone's able to just barely scrape around him. That's doing everything right, though, right? I mean, yeah, you're in a dangerous spot, but all you got to do is just hold the brakes, let everyone find their way around you. If you start moving around, that's guaranteed to make this worse.
Yeah, and again, the reason that he went around most likely was the rear locking. He's obviously these cars, when you're at high speeds with these fantastic brakes on the GTPs, you can just slam on the brakes because you have so much speed that they don't really risk locking up. As the speed gets scrubbed off, the tires are rotating less. There's less force that you need to really get onto the brakes. And if you leave 90 or 100% brake pressure, you're going to lock it up. And these drivers obviously are not locking up too much. But whenever you're at that slow speed and you really stamp on them, as they were trying to do to keep out of the back of the BMW GT, it just shows you you can really lose it very, very quickly. So that was avoiding, basically accident avoidance was the attempt. So that was not nearly as bad as it could have been, as you said.
Still have this battle between Kyle Potter and Daniel Gralti underway. By the way, BMW MT and Delta Racing's number 12 entry has been black flagged for the incident limit. Freda Sport and the 912 has also done another driver change. Shane Hodgson back into the car, now around the outside. Goes Vulture through turn 1. SRN trying to hold him off the long way around. That's Ty on the exit of turn 2. And they're still side by side through turn 3. Frustrating for the LMP2 that is caught behind them, but finally SRM Motorsports seals the deal.
Yeah, it really shows you how frustrating it can be there. It looks like, I believe that's Mitch. No, it's not Mitchell.
Daniel Gralti.
Again, the LP2 getting frustrated behind the two GTs. There's just nowhere to go, right? And of course, the GTs don't want to back off. They're not going to move side, they're not going to lose a position so that Marino can get through. They really want to stay side by side so they can figure out what's going to be going on, but that just loses them time. So again, they're not right next to LMP2 battling, was the 420, but that will still cost them time later on in the race. So potentially they may be hindered later on from a position that they could have otherwise gotten. So again, it's all about trying to manage the traffic. And we have here two drivers who have been managing traffic decently. Battle for third here, SRN in the 75 and Vulture Motorsports in that 64. And it looks like the 64 dropping back, and oh my goodness, BMW around the outside. Indeed, Nolan. That's the sound that everybody's making as they see GTPs trying to work their way around. And now again, look, so the Mercedes had to try to get out of the way, and it brings the Porsche back in, so the Porsche may not have another look. The 75 losing time after overtaking, and it really just, we have a fantastic shot there on the back, and we can see if there's any kind of slipstream. So obviously the closer you are to the car in front, the more effective the slipstream is. It's a positive feedback loop, if you will, and that really does bring a car that's close even closer, but they may be a little too far away to really benefit from anything when it comes to the Mercedes getting away. And I'm seeing a little bit of sun here, Nolan, as well. It does not look nearly as nasty as it did earlier on.
Hey, the Criers had a moment. This is on the approach to Moss. Little deep on the brakes on that one. Going to send him off the road and into the grass, the exit of Moss, but did slow it down to keep it out of the wall.
Yeah, as soon as we saw them turning in so early for that first apex through Moss, you could tell that they had left it a little too late to brake, just trying to get it turned and stopped at the same time, and just not able to get it or keep it on the track. But again, as you said, good recovery and able to live to fight another day. Speaking of fights, what do we got here?
Camera Sim Racing's Elijah Mitchell having a moment at Moss. And just too much throttle on the exit of turn 5. Going to spin the 235 around, and he does keep it out of the wall.
Starting to see some more errors. Speaking of errors, this could be a massive accident.
That's JD Daniel trying to come back onto the road. Just barely slows it up in time. He'll cut across Moss. Probably the wise move instead of trying to come onto the racetrack there. Just bite the bullet, take the slow down. That was a wild opposite, trying to go around the outside of LMP2. And, well, you saw exactly why that type of a move is not advisable.
Here he comes. So he's going to go into the entry here. We've got a GT in front of us. Most likely going to go to the right side. We do. And LMP2 here sizing him up. There's a bit of space on the outside. LMP2 kind of does a little bit of a jink there. Maybe trying to figure out where they're going to go. And we go hard into the wall. It didn't look like too much damage, though, considering how far off the road he went.
Yeah, take one more look at this one here, and it's really as he starts to come down the hill that I got a little bit twitchy, right? Because, I mean, you take a look at when he comes in hot here. Look at the back. He got all 4 wheels off the ground there. The fact that that car didn't catch in those tires or go in fully backwards is nothing short of a minor miracle. Same for I managed to go on a 4-tire lockup and pull it up just in time to avoid going into the hairpin.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's the design of that front of the 963. If you've been in a Cadillac, do you think you would have gotten caught with those really spiky... Speaking of spiky, my goodness me there. Battling GT AM. This is the 90. This is the battle for 2. This is Beaver and Gralty.
Or at least it was.
And
I think
Gralty
Gralty
may have a look and lost a lot of time.
I think he spooked himself with that move there, honestly. Kyle Allen into pit road for Vision 1 Motorsports. This would be for his final pit stop here of the afternoon.
We've still got 41 minutes on the clock here, so there are a lot of drivers who, again, we're seeing mistakes. We're seeing some cars that may be a little worse for wear there, Nolan. And I think that some of these drivers are really having to kind of relearn, as we saw the 17 McLaren, they're kind of having to relearn how to drive their cars, considering that there are, and here we go, have a move down the inside.
Rick Team Racing attacking Kyle Allen, who is fresh out of pit road, getting those tires up to temps. So Francisco Silva completes the pass on the number 11, although he could see Silva have to be on defense here before too much longer once Kyle Allen gets those tires back up into a working temperature. By the way, Flight Level Racing 747 with Jason Ketty comes down pit road as well.
See now, what I think I would consider this a lull now at the moment. Obviously, we still have action up and down the grid here, and of course, this is not a long lap. Again, every single car at least sub 120s. We saw the slowest couple laps were those 120s, 118s from that McLaren. Everybody else running extremely quick. Well, I say extremely quick lap times. Everybody's running extremely quickly. But the lap is a very short one, so there's not a lot of places, for example, you wanted to be a GT and try to stay out of the prototype's way. You're going to be seeing prototypes all day long. And it is not the easiest place. We see here now, 90 getting overtaken.
And Daniel Gralty getting
Looks
back
like
around
that
Aaron
move
Beaver.
got done.
So SRI Motorsports and Intercom Fisher Motorsports completing another pass. That was for second in the GTM category. Both of these drivers, I believe SRI Motorsports still has one pit stop ahead of them. I think Aaron Beaver might be good to go the distance. We'd have to see. It certainly looks like he, at the very least, is trying to save some fuel. Thomas Martin is into pit road for what will be his final stop of the day. I believe most of the LMP2s are going to have to come down for a second stop, and maybe some of the GTPs as well, but it's going to be close.
Yeah, not sure what kind of fuel saving or any kind of wiggle room they would have in the strategy when it comes to this type of track. Again, not a ton of really heavy braking zones. So it really is a very tire wearing circuit here, especially this first sector, right? You have a sweeper through turn 1, the right-hander. You have a sweeper into the left. You have a sweeper into the right, sweeper into the left. It just goes back and forth. And it provides for some fantastic racing, especially with the aero-dependent cars trying to follow each other through there. And of course, you have this little short burst. It almost makes me think of like Road Atlanta, where you have that far side corner. The only difference being that as you head down the back of Road Atlanta, you have an enormous braking zone through this section here. Whereas, again, guess what we have here, Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, a sweeping right-hander. So it can be very, very difficult to get it right. And if you get it wrong, you lose so much time. But yeah, these drivers really trying to get these machines basically to the end. You're right on board Vision 1 Motorsports, number 11, currently in 5th position here. Now trying to go down the inside of the 17, nothing doing there. Hopefully we'll clear them by the time we get to turn 2, open over the hill. I'm assuming they're gone. We'll have to hold our breath and see. Looks like we're going wide. And now we're cutting back to the apex, so
that's again just risk management, right? I mean, just being extra careful. You're in the late game. You don't want to be caught up by another incident. That could indicate they might be a little close on incidents here as well. John Polaro from Bravo Association trying to fend off Daniel Gralti. This is for the GTM race lead. Now, Gralti has about 9 more laps on his stint than Polaro does with that lead, so he will be having to come down pit road sooner if they need another stop. Coming up and around, LMP2 going to work its way through. 4/10 between the duo here.
The LMP2 is going to split them, and it should be kinder to the Mustang as it goes around the outside. Shouldn't be troubling them too much, whereas the Mercedes lost a lot more time through the apex of turn 1. They'll head through this second set O sweepers, and that Mercedes, it just seems to have such pace over this Mustang at the moment. Again, just wide entries, short exits. Let's see how wide the Mercedes goes here. Gonna go way out near the curb, cut it back, and now the Mustang will be helped out by the fact that there is a tow from the Mercedes in front as well. The LMP2 is going to help out. Apologies, the GTP there help out as well. So the Mercedes may not be able to get up to the back as much as anticipated, but he's there nonetheless. The 75 looking really strong now, dives down to the inside.
Oh boy!
And the Mustang goes a bit wide. They're able to hang in there. 23 nerves of steel. And now the 75 is going to get a really good run here, Nolan, through the first corner. I don't think there's going to be anybody on their inside this time.
Boy, getting a little bit dicey there. As yet again, Daniel Gralti, he knows he's quicker. He wants to try to find a way through, especially because he's going to have, I believe, one more pit stop run ahead of him before this race is out. Just over half an hour still yet to be run with the hashtag NEVERLIFT Crispy 160. As most of our battles here have mostly kind of fallen by the wayside, save for this one here with the GTM race leaders.
So Nolan, if you're Polaro here, how hard do you fight this, considering that potentially the 75 might need to come back in for another stop?
I'm not sure. I mean, Polaro, here's the problem. Polaro might be good to go the distance. He only has 17 laps on the stint. You know, it runs usually around 38 laps. So I feel like Polaro might be good to go the distance. I think if you're Daniel Gralti, you kind of just got to run the tank out dry, because you never know. If you get a late race safety car, all of a sudden you can... Oh, there we go. Okay, coming to pit road. All right, well, that changes that up. Gralti might try to go for the undercar. I was going to say, you know, try to maybe wait it out, hope for a safety car, because in the event that you get one, then you can shift the fuel map into fuel save mode and save so much fuel under the safety car. Because remember, that clock keeps ticking. This is not a lap-based race.
Yeah, definitely. That is a big factor for this type of racing here. Let's see now, again, the 17. Currently in 6th place. Yes, 6th place. That's the Rentley SRT McLaren. Doing what they can, considering that they have some kind of issue. We could only imagine some kind of issue. And now around the outside goes the Porsche. SR Motorsport 90. Apologies, this is not for position at the moment, I don't believe.
We
do have 2 GTPs.
And that was the pass made for 6th place in the GTM category between the duo. And like you say, a few GTPs working their way through that GTP fight. The fight for second between Albrecht Motorsports and Mike Stanek, along with Jonathan Lopez from VSR Competizione. So 2 cars looking to be a little bit close. And you also have one of the BMW M2 TSR competitors between the duo as a lap car.
This shakes out here. So now, and here we go. So the 17 trying to fight back here. I say trying to, they are. This is not done here. In battle for 6th, GTM. Like the Porsche seems to has the traction on the way out. Earlier on the 17, we were seeing that they were having issues as the BMW tries to get as much space as they can around the outside. Let's see what the BMW does for Porsche's line into turn 3. Looks like they compromised him too much. 94 will be able to pull away once again, so that looks like that may be, for lack of a better phrase, fizzling out there, which is going to be good news for the 94. This is not fizzling out at all here, so this is 2nd place.
Yeah, Albrecht Motorsports racing for the lead right now at VSR Competizione, as you did see VSCA Racing come down pit road. Kyle Burney still in the car for them, and oh man, a little close there with the 47 entry, forcing Albrecht Motorsports out wide, and Jonathan Lopez taking full advantage of that to sweep through into the lead of the race.
Fantastic, opportune moment there. Opportunity plus preparation equals success. He was basically preparing earlier on into the entry of the S's. He could see it all coming together. Now down the inside there, 499 P on, it looks like the 25 BMW.
And Gamma Sim Racing's Anthony Bafucci raced it out with Nico Loikkanen for the number 5 spot in the GTP category. It is Ferrari versus BMW on this one, and it looks like Gamma Sim Racing able to power around the inside through turn 1, and is starting to quickly run away with now a top 5 position. Bravo Shatton still close as well in the fight for the GTM lead, so all manner of battles kicking off all over the racetrack with no end in sight to any of them.
Yeah, the tide is definitely in here as we have the number 10 trying to go around the outside, down the inside. Basically waited for the Mustang to move. Mustang's still outside, and the 10 has not made the move just yet. Apologies, the 11 has not made the move just yet. So now they finally go around the outside there, turn 3. Interesting that there wasn't really much pace differential, it seemed, between the LMP2 and the Ford.
Albrecht Motorsports is into pit road. Mike Steneke still in the car for them. That will, of course, shift the battle once more in GTP, whereas the fight continues to be a tight one for the GTM leaders. John Polaro and Aaron Beaver now, the 2 drivers that are racing it now. Bravo Shatton looking for what I believe will be one of their first race wins of the campaign in GTM.
We also see Kyle Potter there in the 64. Porsche, 3rd overall, or 3rd in GTM, I should say. And that gap has dropped from about 2.5 seconds, and it may be dipping under 2 here in just a minute. So that two-way battle with Polaro and Beaver may increase by 1 as a disgruntled 963 catching the Ford Mustang at the same spot the LMP2 did last time by.
It's always turn 2. It's always turn 2 where all of the prototype traffic seems to catch our GTs at, and it catches them out every single time as well. See one making a brave look around the outside to get around the this duo. It's been a hard-fought fight between Beaver and Polaro as you ride on board there. And Beaver now headed down the back straightaway.
That might have been the moment there. Fantastic launch out of Moss here. This is for the lead in GTAM. Which way do we go? We have a little bit of overspeed. May not be enough to get it done. This is a braking zone. And there we go. So laid on the brakes there for the Ford, but it'll send them up the racetrack, or at least the outside of the racetrack. And it looks like they've gotten away with that. So on the brakes, extremely confident is John Polaro. And the 23 really working well on the brakes, which is what you need when you're in the lead. Now we've got the Cadillac splitting them at the moment, immediately to the right side there. We've seen a lot of people going to the left, waiting for the GT traffic to clear.
Well, Gamma Sim Racing.
Oh, it looks like we had kind of a slow moment there from one of the LMP2s.
Gamma Sim Racing had to seriously check up the field there on that one as he almost ran right into the back.
Oh yeah, this is getting wild. So we have an LMP2 behind. It's like a GTP in front. And we're now heading into Moss here. And again, all this is bringing Kyle Potter into the thing. So Kyle Potter he's just at the back of your shot. The leaders are right together. They're going to have another go. They have a LMP2, sorry, in the background. So the LMP2 should clear them. Then the 90's got to make a decision on the brakes.
Here we go.
Now down the inside there, how late does the 23 go?
He's just able to carry so much momentum around the outside of turn 8 that there's just nothing Beaver's been able to do about it. He doesn't have an answer.
Yeah, he is quick where he needs to be. And now look at this. It is less than a second across the top 3 in GTAM. And I don't think Potter's going to wait around. I think if the 90's not able to get through, if Beaver takes 2 or 3 more attempts at this, which again, Polaro is putting on a great performance. So if Beaver can't get through, then I think Potter may be next in line here to try to get to the Mustang here with 26 minutes to go. Oh my goodness, this is just getting really, really tense here right at the front.
Sure is. It's a 3-way battle now for the GTM race lead with under a half hour of racing left to go, as well as this side-by-side for moments with Nico Loikin and Anthony Mafucci for third in GTP. We'll check in with that in just a moment, but right now, will we see a look from Aaron Beaver down the inside of John Polaro? He's tried for it time after time again into the S's. He just has not had an answer, and he is going to remain stumped as he tries to fight his way through, and in fact, coming to pit road, trying to undercut him on the pit strategy.
That is fascinating. That is so he's tried and tried and tried. He's gonna try to let the race come to him here. So now looking at Loikin, this is the top 3, and now down what was the inside is going to be now the outside, and almost like he was let through. And up into P2 for BMW M-Team. And there is Mafucci now.
And Nico Loikin
Sim Racing.
AC Loikin just up the road as well. So it's that was a pass for second, but that happened when the car was still in pit road. So hence why you don't see him on the racetrack. Wolf Motorsport Sim Racing with Christopher Lindprecht now into the car, working their way out of pit road and back onto the racetrack. They will drop a spot to Daniel Gralti from SR Motorsports, but we'll watch for that fight to see if we get a Mercedes duel before this race is out. It's still have Aaron Beaver along with Jean Foot races out for third in GTM. You also have third place still up for grabs in GTP. Yeah,
Lopez making it Quite a close battle there. Number 7 chasing down the 137, and that's now within about half a second or so. Come through here again. I think the main reason why the GTPs in particular are catching all the GT traffic is just the exit off of turn 1, down the hill, up and over, and through turn 2 and 3. They have so much, and we've talked about this before, of course. They have so much more speed through these. It's insane. If you're in a GT car, if you do like a ride-along lap or something, they're insanely fast. Oh, speaking of which, insanely fast here. 4th place, Jonathan Lopez in the Porsche. No reason to tell you the amount of time they're behind because you can see how close they are.
You also have Sergio Ostas for Red Light Competición, who's going to be black flagged. That would be for the incident limit yet again, as Bafucci and Lopez still 3rd and 4th with 23 minutes on the cards. And these drivers starting lap 99. They will be starting lap 100 next time by. Bafucci at a pit road. He was the last GTP car that had to pit, letting Lopez through into the number 3 spot, leaving just a battle between Polaro and Beaver on track.
Not sure if Lopez will be disappointed about the upcoming battle or if he's glad to see the Ferrari out of his way, but either way, again, oh my goodness, as the BMW there tries to go down the inside, GTP traffic trying to make the most of it, catching them at a terrible time and able to back out, which was good. That could have been an incident here. They should clear the number 90 Porsche, and actually they clear both of our drivers here for 2nd and 3rd.
And also side by side between Gralti and Cryer for 5th and 6th in GTM, as Cryer going to be dropping a spot. Gralti trying to look to fend him off, and he's going to do just that. So Renly SRT with the TeamSpeak Mercedes able to just barely fight his way around him. A fierce fight underway at the moment for SRM Motorsports. I mean, this has been nuts in GTM over the last run.
Yeah, it really is starting to come together. All the guys that have been fighting for so long earlier on, pit stops have separated them. They've been brought back into it. Of course, different drivers, right? We have driver swaps and tires at different ages, different strategies going on, but it really does spice up. Again, I was saying the cards getting shuffled. Something that has not changed, though. Number 23. And now, as I say that, around the outside, fantastic. The outside will become the inside into white.
And still
side by side. No, this is insane.
Boy. Contact down the front straightaway as Intercom Vision Motorsports trying to get around John Polaro. And contact again through turn 1 that time. Still side by side for 2nd, but could turn into the race lead. And this time, Beaver forced to yield as Polaro managed to maintain despite the onslaught from Whites down through turn 1. But here comes Beaver, not done fighting yet.
Polaro put that car in a fantastic position. He's going to put it defensive this time around. There's some prototype traffic behind. It's an LMP2 who will take longer to clear them than a GTP. There's also GT cars lining up behind, as we do have a BMW GTP trying to follow the LMP2 through. Meanwhile, the 90 gaining all the time, as that put Polaro off going into this corner, or is he going to be bulletproof as he has been this last entire stint? We now have a drag race side by side on the Mario Andretti straight.
"20 minutes to go and still battles everywhere you look. Near contact again between Polaro and Beaver as they fight their way out of turn number 1.
This is going to be really, really tight because there's no space on the outside for the 90 to go.
No! And that's going to collect 2nd place runner Sergio Ostas for Red Light Competición and hits the Porsche again, who had already come to a stop in the outfield for Intercom Vision Motorsports. Disaster for 2 2nd-place runners in LMP2 and GT Pro.
That looks like it is extremely right hand down from the 90. We saw it trying to get going again. It looked like the wheel got straightened out and it pulled violently to the right. I think that has got some serious, obviously serious front end damage. Yeah, just clipping the LMP2 trying to go around the outside. There wasn't any space. They would both be squeezed. So the Mustang and the 911 had to stay on the inside if the LMP2 was to get around cleanly. And the 90 just trying to hang it around. So again, we are on the outside. There's nowhere for the other two GTs to go. We're trying to mind our own business, trying to stay out there, and it just understeers into our left rear. And then, of course, this right here, we're trying not to have another accident. We're trying to go left, and we actually understeer right into the front of the 911 yet again.
Just a panic lockup on that deal.
Yeah.
Tough break for them. That's going to eliminate any chance of Red Lab Competición from having a good result here in this race. And I know it's going to be a frustrating day at the office for them. Still have a fight for second in the category between Jonathan Fuchstik and Kyle Allen, as V1M and FLR still have yet to settle their differences.
Allen trying to hang on to it there. Jonathan trying to get into the wheel tracks. Looking a little nastier out there, I must say, Nolan. It's getting a little foggier again, so we may kind of have a bookend to this race. It started kind of gross. It became beautiful, and it may be getting darker here. I'm not sure about the track temps, but as far as the visibility, it may be getting a little worse as you have a good look there down the start finisher. It doesn't seem too bad. Of course, drivers want to make sure that their lights are on if they can, if they still have headlights, because as we've seen, it's been a very action-packed race. One trying to hold off the 757.
17 minutes to go, as well as Fuchstik still has yet to settle this fight with Kyle Allen. Nathan Cryer just came down pit road for his final stop of the day. And at this point, a lot of drivers have kind of just entered hot lap mode, right? I mean, just run this thing out clean, no real battles to speak of on the racetrack. In fact, there's only two that are under 3 seconds right now. There's this one, and then there's JD Daniel trying to run down Mike Stanecke in GTP. That's only about a second apart as well, but this is the one to watch here with 3/10 between the 757 and the 11. They're catching the tail of more GTMs. Fuchstik wants to go. Got to the back bumper just about, but unable to find a way through on Allen.
There's a GTP as well for good measure to separate them. As the 11 tries to scamper away. I believe on older tires as well, as we can see on those traction zones, as we have, the 499, the sole Lamborghini entry. And again, one of the worst spots to try to rejoin the apex of 3. Oh, and we're already rattling here.
Back end comes around on him. He's going to go sliding off into the grass. Good job to keep it out of the wall, though, right? I mean, he recognized what was happening, and then rather than try to power out of it, just locked it down super early, and that definitely saved that race car.
Yeah, definitely. We see the 14 now on pit road there. We'll see where Allen and the 757 in third come out. Looks like that is backed off to almost 2 seconds or so.
So this is the final car
that be a tight one here.
This is the final car that needed to come down for the LMP2 category as well. There is Kyle Allen. George out of pit road, and Allen visible out of turn 1. Not able to get there, though. He's still about 3 seconds off the mark.
Yeah, he's also really mired in traffic at the moment. Going to try to go around the outside of turn 3 on the 17 McLaren. And he's got a lot of work to do in order to get up to the back of the leader, if that is going to be the case. As again, it seems like the 963s, for lack of a better phrase, might have the worst temper out there so far. It could just be my bias that I'm seeing them more often. But it seems like the 963s are getting held up, according to them, much more than the other the other GTP machines out there. Yeah, again, Lirio George in the 14 still commands the lead at 4 seconds. Have to keep an eye on that as well. They'll have fresher tires, of course. Only 14 minutes to go. Again, Nolan, you said hot lapping basically at the end. They're just going to be really trying to go for it. And we're going to see most likely a lot more slides out of the exits of corners trying to get that power down. No sense in, I guess if you say, smoke them if you got them.
"14 minutes still left to run." Let's take a look at what's coming up here on Green Flag TV over the next few days. Tomorrow afternoon, the Blazing Pedals Truck Series will take to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. They'll be racing out on the oval at America's Home for Motorsports. And the day after that, the Belgian Sim Racing Federation will be swinging back to Italy. They'll be racing at the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Dino Ferrari, also known as Imola. High Time Racing League action will hit Michigan International Speedway. They'll be joined by PSR, also in the trucks on Wednesday. Before that, the Mid-Atlantic Racing Series will be headed up Fort Worth, Texas, alongside the Silver Fox Racing Late Model Stock Championship, with round number 3 taking us to round 4, taking us to North Wilkesboro Speedway up in North Carolina on Tuesday night. So plenty of racing still yet to be had, as there's still it's starting to enter one of our busier seasons, right? You got summer coming around, everyone's off, everyone needs something to do.
Why not sim race? I can't think of anything better than going in circles. It really is. It's fantastic. Again, as we've seen, 37 entries in this race, and we're actually not missing, but well, speaking of missing here, we have somebody down in the pits. That's a 64 there.
What's going on here? That car is
Kyle Potter.
That car is way off angle. SR Motorsports is 74 entry.
Well.
We got a crash. SR Motorsports' Tim McLeish was off at the final corner. There's been some kind of drama that has just taken place. That was Vulture Motorsports, the GTM leaders that have just come down pit road. Let's take a look and see if we can find out what happened, and SR Motorsports crashing just moments later. Oh no!
Into the tires at the front.
Oh dear! You are kidding me. And you're not getting
into the pit box because he's missing the left front.
Yeah, you're not getting that car fixed up. That is history. This is on board again with Potter. Just face first right into the and oh my gosh. I mean, it came in so suddenly too. And then seconds later, SRM Motorsports coming back around. And he had some help.
Mercedes on Mercedes. And whack the front for good measure as well. Into those
It was his
tires.
teammate. It was the other SRM Motorsports car.
My goodness me, that'll be a phone call.
There's going to be a lengthy discussion post-race over that one. Nicholas going in there and Beaver exchanging blows for 4th and 5th. I'm very surprised that they let that Mercedes take the tow. Was not anywhere near what you would imagine would be a tow-away zone. Got second place up for grabs in LMP2. And contact again, nearly spinning them around.
If you can call it clean contact. But, I mean, there's nothing to separate them. Timing tower shows a 10th, but they look even closer than that. They come through just eating into the lead. And again, there's the universal signal for please move. Thank you, sir. And Allen holding firm at the moment. And as they'll exit there, they'll be dragged along down the Mario Andretti straight. That accident earlier for the Porsche, the 64, reminded me of David Coulthard throwing away. I believe it was in Australia in Formula One. He came into the pits, he just understeered, and with the Formula car, you can take off the entire left side just with a little bit of a touch. Speaking of a touch, left rear into the grass there for the 11, able to hang on to it. Doesn't seem like it was unsteady, but yeah, just David Coulthard in the lead, turns his McLaren to the right and just smashes into the wall. And luckily for the 64, able to get to their pit box. But as you said, Nolan, extensive damage for what seemed like a routine entry into the pits, as now we have a look down the inside. And Allen holding firm for now.
Oh, man, getting tight with it, though, as Flight Level Racing 757 doing their best to try and find a way to get through. 9 minutes on the clock, less than 10 laps to go. We are very much in the end game, and Jonathan Feuchting knows he is running out of time real quick.
Now, the racer in me thinks, do I wait later on and try to get a better opportunity on Allen as his tires wear? Or, I mean, there's only 8.5 minutes to go. Or do I try to go and get Illyrio George in the 14? They're about 5 or so seconds up the road and closing. So this pair is catching the leader. They may not get there. I have to do the math on that. But potentially,
no,
this pair...
They'd have to close a second a lap. It's not happening.
Oh, that is true, because it's under 9 minutes there. And now we're catching GT traffic.
That duo, actually, the battle for fifth, they're working their way through with Intercontinental Motorsports and SWF Motorsports. So those two Porsches are also fighting for position here.
But imagine with the 90, this may be a formality depending on the kind of issues that car is suffering from. Very good entry into Moss there. Decent exit as well. Will get towed along for a few seconds by GTP in front. Once all the traffic clears through there, we'll have to see if there's any kind of drag race down the line. Speaking of drag racing, we have a GTP on the inside. Are they going to try to clear the 11 as well? They're not. So the 11 is going to lead into the S's, which is going to really benefit Allen.
Oh, this is cheeky here. Look at Vision One Motorsports and the GTP. Now, remember, Vision Motorsports, that GTP entry, that they are deliberately holding up Flight Level Racing right now to prevent them from getting a run. He could have easily jumped his own teammate there. These are sister cars, different classes, yes, but they are still teammates. And that was pretty blatant. This is still blatant what's going on here with this GTP traffic here. Deliberately slowed up the car that their sister LMP2 entry was fighting with.
Yeah, they've actually fallen behind that white BMW as well. And they're not out of the woods, so to speak, as we have a look at a replay.
It was 499 Racing's DeMarcus Rogers having another spin yet again, though, doing a good job to at least not spinning into traffic. But I got to be honest, I don't like it when we play those games, right? I mean, I get it, your teammates, but come on. Let them race. You're in a race of your own. Why bother? I mean, to be fair, Visual Motorsports is like Thomas Martin. He doesn't have to worry about it. He's not fighting with anybody. That's why he's doing this, right? I mean, he doesn't have to worry about it. But, I mean, really? That's how you're going to let this battle play out? Come on. It's poor sportsmanship.
I can see it effectively. It's almost like instead of trying to fight, two boxers show up, but if you make the other one really late, then you win the boxing match. I don't know how that would really feel when it comes in. Again, yeah. So that is BMW behind, getting quite upset, and I think rightfully so at this point.
Well,
I'm quite impressed, to be honest, with how long this rear gunner formation is going to happen, because they're just trying to battle for the LMP2. There's 5.5 minutes left on the clock, and they're trying to keep Jonathan in the 757 back.
Well, so Bravo Shat
position for second.
Bravo Shat here, they're actually not going to be fighting Division 1 Motorsports either. They're actually a lap behind the car that they're racing with. That's why they're not trying to go for the overtake here either. And finally, the number 11 lets them through. Kind of makes a point, but the damage is done at this point, right? I mean, 1.3 seconds. I mean, that is, yeah, not a fan of that one. Not a fan. They know what they did.
About a second or so.
They know what they did. Flight Level knows what they did. I'm not sure if Kyle Allen had any kind of say in that. I'm going to give Allen the benefit of the doubt and assume that, no, it was not the call of the number 11 to have that go down the way it did, but it's poor class in the GTP entry there.
I will say that gap is coming down. Again, not trying to grandstand this too much, but that
don't tell me
it's
he's
now
gonna
almost
do it
looks like the
again.
teammates kind of holding back the 11 almost. And they are in all sorts of bother here. So this is immediately after all of that, we'll say hard work, has almost come undone now. The 11 back under threat.
A lot of GT traffic up the road as well, going to make this a bit of a road hazard for Kyle Allen to work his way around. Jonathan Wojcik still wanting to get up there, and he now sees a chance to do so. As Thomas Martin has now blitzed away with this one, well clear. Even trying to offer a bit of a tow to his teammate there to try to help him carry the straight line speed. Overall, race in action has proven to be a bit intense over the course of the afternoon, and we've only got about 3-4 laps to go.
Yeah, this is really coming down to the end here. It's going to be lap traffic with 3 minutes or so. And again, you can see the gaps are ebbing and flowing. The 11 was almost 2 seconds ahead, and now there's not even a car length between them, and it's still getting closer all the time as the Mercedes is not in the way, but is doing their best to try to stay out of this battle. And the 11's trying to stay out of the battle as well, just trying to get away and get to the flag. It's maybe one of the best looks that that the 757 has had all day here. Now it looks like there's a bit of a gap that's formed out of Moss. Good traction there, at least for Allen.
Still half a second between the two of them. Fight for third overall is starting to close, but it's still almost a full second between the two, so we'll jump to that if it gets much closer. Right now, the fight for second at LW2 is the one to watch. Kyle Burney on the racetrack, just coming through the final corner now, and Burney will have 3 laps to go.
Fantastic work from the 32 there. 22 seconds and a bit out in the lead. Really, really impressive stuff, and they'll be thrilled with that here. Speaking of thrilling here, so again, Allen's still in front. So Allen's been absorbing an enormous amount of pressure here. This has not been easy through the closing stages, and he really is having to figure this out. One wrong decision when it comes to lap traffic, as we see we have a Mustang up in the lead, or not in the lead, up ahead down this straightaway, just looking for a tow. We have a GTP through as well. Ooh, and that might be an LP2 off the road. No, not quite. Sorry. It looked like I thought I saw a bunch of dirt flying up there.
He got a little bit kicked up there. He took a bit of an evasive move left, and his left side's kind of scraped the grass. That's what ended up happening in that fight. Well, all this lap traffic going to break apart this battle for second in LMP2. Letting us tune into the battle for third on the racetrack between Jonathan Lopez and Mike Sadecki. So VSR Company Teal and Albrecht Motorsports. Getting a little bit dicey here, and Lopez desperate to work through this traffic, trying to stay ahead of the 96.
A little bit compromised on entry there through the S's. Seems to have been able to get that front end stuck in. Wide exit there for the 963. Lopez just trying to hang on to this, using all the curve they can. And meanwhile, we have a look here out front.
Kyle Burney at the moment working his way towards the start-finish line. This next time by could end up being the final lap of the race for him. It has been a doozy of a race so far. Kyle Burney, will he take the white flag or the checkered? Only 10 seconds on the clock. It's going to be real close at the line, but it is the white flag waving. 1 lap to go from Mosport.
Relatively surprised that he didn't back it off there. I would want the least amount of time possible. If I'm in the lead, I'd want to call it as soon as possible. Somebody who wants to call it as soon as possible, again, is Jonathan Lopez, wanting to get this one done and dusted in third place at the moment. Only about a second. And speaking of only about a second, the battle for P2 in LMP2 has hotted up as well. Nolan, this is all happening right in the last second.
It's going to be a tight fight to the line. Also have second place in GTN. That's looking tight as well, with race cars trying to get this one sorted all throughout the field. There is race leader Kyle Burney making his way down the back chute for the final time today. VSCA Racing ran a very quiet race, found themselves up front, and they ran away with it. And Kyle Burney in the number 32 Ferrari 499 takes home the GTP win from Canada.
Further back, it's Mercedes on Mercedes there. And around the outside, is there any overlap? There isn't. They've got that one done and out of the final corner. John Polaro in the Ford Mustang 23 takes the checkered flag. And that's a slowing number 11. That's Kyle Allen.
Checker flag. They took the checker flag already. Okay. I thought for a moment they were out of fuel. All right. So taking the checker flag for the two of them. As well as that, it was VSCA Competition holding on, by the way, in that battle for GTP for number 3. And this will leave just Alario George, who will look to come down the Mario Andretti straight. The last class leader and the last car running on the racetrack, as Grow Racing Team will walk it home with the LMP2 win this afternoon.
Yeah, really strong performance, and also wasn't really able to run away with it in the early stages. They really had to fight for that. They had to overtake a handful of cars in their class and really put on a good show there. And almost gave us a heart attack there earlier on when it came to the fuel. But overall, really exciting stuff. It really just felt like, it was going to boil over, and it seemed to boil over all at the same time there. So, Nolan, that was quite the interesting battle, and plenty of incidents, but also plenty of great moves.
Looking home to the race results this afternoon in GTP after 120, it's Kyle Burney, number 1, Nico Loikkanen, number 2, Lopez in 3rd, Mike Staneke in 4th, JD Daniel in 5th, last car on the lead lap. Mafucci first lap down in 6th, Thomas Martin in 7th, Enrique Gomez, Robinson Shatta comes home 8th, BMW M Team Delta Racing in 9th, and then it is World of Sim Racing Team rounding out the top 10 with the likes of BMW M Team Delta Racing's number 21 entry and Felipe Silveira finishing this race 11 down.
LMP2 results. Alario George in the 14. Grow Racing Team bring it home in LMP2. Kyle Allen in the 11 with a huge fight with Jonathan Fotik for Flight Level Racing in 757. Making 2nd and 3rd. Francisco Silva just missing out in the 87 in 4th. Sergio Ostos, 552 in 5th. Elijah Mitchell, 6th. 7th, Randy Marino. Dylan Babcock in 8th. Jacob Bessemer in 9th with Joan Witt for Wolf Motorsports Sim Racing in 10th. And 11th, Dan Piazza for Old Dogs Racing. We lost them early on. They finished 11th.
Yeah, the 512 and the 59, the only two cars not to finish the race here this afternoon. And then in GTM, it's John Polaro, Bravo Snow Shatin taking home the first win of their 2026 campaign here on the afternoon, as we're going to now look to Daniel Gault of Restaurant Motorsports, Christopher Limprack for Wolf Motorsports Sim Racing in the 515 comes home 3rd. Nicholas Goen bringing it home 4th. John Foot in 5th. Aaron Beaver in 6th. Nathan Cry of Rentley SRT in 7th. VSCA Racing's Tamar Elbaga will be in 8th. Frida Sports number 912 with St. Hodison in 9th. And Jason Caddy for Flight Level Racing rounds out the top 10. Through the field, it's off at the SS Racing 5 down with Vulture Motorsports. 499 Racing, another disappointing afternoon for the Lamborghini. DeMarcus Rogers brings that car home in 13th. SR Motorsports' Tim McLeish will be in 14th. And BMW M Team TSR, despite a hard impact into the wall, will come home number 15, bottom of the barrel for GTM. Well, we got a chance to give a chat here to the drivers that come home, numbers 1, 2, and 3. And we'll look to kick things off first and foremost here with the likes of Kyle Burney coming home number 1 of the GTP field here on the afternoon. And Kyle, yet another race win for Wastegate Racing. This one, a relatively quiet run up at the front. I mean, we didn't have much of a chance to talk about Wastegate much throughout the afternoon.
That's always a good thing, isn't it? If it's a quiet afternoon and you're not talking about us, it means it's a smooth and clean race.
Well, kind of talk us through this one, because you guys kind of just found your way into the front after all the safety cars and all the strategies, and no one was able to even come close to you from there.
Yeah, Nick did a great job in qualifying. I was concerned until he got in a good lap at the end, and then we just kept it clean at the safety cars at the start. I think that we were fortunate there, and competitors had some very unlucky incidents that happened, so kind of just fell into our hands. And then after the full course yellow in the restart at the middle of the race, we just did the strategy call. We saw that we were catching the GT field, and we knew that we needed a pit within a lap or two anyway, so we just brought it in early, and that gave us around a 9-second lead just from all the other cars catching the GTs on their last lap in. And then from there, it was just kind of keeping it clean and catching traffic in the right areas and being consistent and smooth, and we just ended up building the gap that we needed and what we had at the end. So it was just, all in all, was a very, very clean, smooth race, which is something that we've been pushing for, and we knew that we were close and we needed.
Looking forward into the championship as a whole, and we'll talk about the overall championship here. World of Sim Racing team, of course, having a monster crash earlier today, and that's going to blow the championship for this one wide open for you guys. You're going to reel that points gap to well under 100 now. What do you reckon is next in store? Do you think that championship hope is back alive again?
Yeah, and I knew it would be as long as we had a good result in the next, race or two. So us having that good race now as we move into basically the last 4 races of the championship is going to be really good. For us, we can carry that momentum into Watkins Glen, and then the last 3 races after I think they're all after summer break of Road America, Indy, and Petite. So it'll be really good for us. Hopefully we can just carry on what we're doing today into those races, and if we do, then we'll be there right at the front fighting for the championship by the end of the season.
Well, we'll wish you the best of luck when we go racing once again. Congratulations on coming home number 1 here in GTP, and we'll see you when we go racing next time out for more.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you guys for everything that you do.
Kyle Brady for Wastegate Racing comes home number 1 here on the afternoon. And, with all of that, we will look to catch up here with Danilo Vaz. James, you're standing by with our LMP2 winners on the afternoon.
Danilo Vaz, congratulations on the win there. It looks like at the end, you guys got to have one of the shorter stints of anybody out there on the racetrack, so nice fresh tires and everything. But how was the race from your perspective?
Thanks, guys. Thanks so much. And I am thrilled because this is my second race this season, and I came to race at my. And we started well. I mean, we had the car to finish in the top 5 there. Unfortunately, we got caught up with my internet connection that got us all up down there. So having the chance to come back here and have a great result is awesome, because I'm speechless right now because we worked so hard to train. I mean, we have both VSCA and the 24-hour of Lassar for the ACV side tomorrow with the qualifying, so we had to prep for 2 races a week basically. I didn't think that we could have a great car to win today, honestly, because in the free practice the Mercedes were looking so strong, about 3/10 up on us, and they kind of show us today with the 75 being so quick at the end. So yeah, it was, absolutely amazing to pull off and do this race. John Palaro did a great job defending at the end there, from both the 75 and the 90. They were coming up strong at the late race, and unfortunately they got caught up with I think a black flag on the 75 side and a wreck on the 90 side. So sorry for them, but I take it. We had just like everything on favor of us today. Started before and got into P3 early, passing the 90 with another driver. There was an arrow. So we just keep going there from there. We were faster first team. I think before the TSR yellow flag, I was about 16 seconds up ahead. So it clearly showed that we were on the great pace today, and I think we deserved that so much. We kept it clean. I hope I didn't appear that much in the live stream, because just like Kyle said, if you're not appearing that much, it means that you are doing a great job. So I hope we can come back strong on the next race at Glen. And let's go, man. Let's go. So unfortunate for Thiago in the GTP side, for both him and Henrique Gomes, but I mean, we'll take those and see what we can get better into the next race.
Yeah, you mentioned Polaro there. Polaro was all over our screens, and that was because he was putting up an enormous defense, and he really was able to put that Mustang in good spots. Were you sweating it when you were watching him go side by side?
I was absolutely cracking down, man, because I took off the car. I went to get lunch because it's lunchtime here in Brazil. So I grabbed my lunch and was watching the race here from the server, doing as a spotter thing. And I was so nervous because there were a lot of traffic, and I think the LMP2 were a bit anxious to pass the GT3 guys today. It was a bit messy at some times, but so I'm so glad that we kept it clean, as I said, and didn't caught up in a wreck. So that's the most important thing. And I hope this result turns things a little bit for us, because this season is not being that great for us, overall side. But I hope we can come back into the interview booth with you guys.
Yeah, definitely. We enjoy having you. In terms of Watkins Glen, will you guys be entering there with a pep in your step?
Yeah, I mean, I hope that Polaro gets back with me. I already raced with Roveda last week at Miami, the last race, and now with Polaro, and we achieved great results. They both were great drivers, so I hope they can come back with us, and we prep again to get the best result possible.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for joining us again. Congratulations to both of you guys, and fantastic racing out there.
Okay, thank you, man.
Yeah.
And we'll move on down to Thiago Baduro Diaz coming home number one with the LMP2 runners for Grow Racing Team. And I tell you what, Thiago, it was quite the journey that you guys had here on the afternoon as well. Talk us through the day, because it was not an easy time to see that 14 car finally come home and take a race winning here in Canada.
Feeling like we had the pace and we had the opportunities. Then, sorry?
You had a lot of the pace here this afternoon. It certainly was not an easy time, I'd imagine, getting that LMP2 into victory lane. You say you had a lot of the pace. Did you encounter much challenges today, or was it smooth sailing?
No, I was just thinking back at what has happened in the last few races and all the bad luck I feel we've had. And so to be able to come here and get everything managed to get everything together there at the end. So we thought that we would be losing out due to the full course yellows. We were able to practice saving the tires so that we could go long stints. We didn't change tires right at the end, so we managed to keep P1 there. It's an emotional race with the situations going on with Kyle Busch, Crispy. So it's very nice to get our first win here in this fashion.
Looking to the next race in the Sprint Cup, it's not going to be until Indianapolis with one to go. You're able to jump 20 points at least to get around Track Limit Sim Racing for third of the points. Do you reckon second or even the championship is still on the cards for you when we swing out to Indy?
I don't know. It's so difficult to do that kind of math. We just try to go race by race, corner by corner, and do our best at every moment, and then we do the math in the end. As long as we feel like we put everything we had out there, then we have to be happy.
Watkins Glen just around the corner. It'll be 2 more endurance races and 1 before the summer break. What's going to be the game plan when we swing to upstate New York?
I'm looking forward to Watkins. I'm not sure if I'll be on the lineup, but it's a track where most of our team enjoys, and so I'm looking forward to it. I hope we have a good participation there.
Well, congratulations on taking home number 1 in LMP2 this afternoon. Finally turning the luck around. We'll see if we can keep the momentum rolling forward at the Glen in a few weeks.
Yes, hopefully. Thanks.
Thiago Maduro Diaz coming home number 1 with the Grow Racing Team number 14 entry in a hard-fought day for them. A very well-deserved win at that. James, that is going to be all for us here on the afternoon. Tell you what a wild race that we had, as it so often is. And, well, it's not going to be too much longer. It's going to feel like only a week before we jump over to the Glen once more.
Yeah, really excited to get more of it, right? We only got 2 hours and 40 minutes of it, and we're going to get tons more here on Green Flag TV. Really excited to see some more of this action. And I will tell you what, though, some of these battles are not done, even if we're no longer here in Canada. Some of these battles will continue throughout the season.
Well, so many of them still have yet to be decided, and I'm sure a lot of rivalries have kicked into overdrive after today here as well. When we go racing next time out on Green Flag TV, once again, it will be at the Blazing Pedals Truck Series headed over to Charlotte Motor Speedway. BSRF action back for more at Imola on Monday alongside the High Time Race League at Michigan, while Mars will be racing at Texas. Silver Fox Racing late model stock action will take to North Wilkesboro, while PSR will then head to Michigan. Still a lot of racing left here in this one. If you want to find out more about who we are and what we can offer you, check us out today at www.greenflag.tv. Once again, my name is Manolo Rempel alongside James Newton. Thank you all so much for joining us for yet another presentation of the VSCA Sports Car Championship on what has been a stellar Saturday afternoon. Next time we go racing, it will be for the final race before the summer break. We will be swinging up to Watkins Glen International. That will be coming up over on June 20th, starting once again at 1600 GMT. That will be the likes of noon here Eastern Time. Want to find out more? Well, I already said that part, so I'll tell you what, we'll sign off from here. Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll see you all next time for more